It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than any of us individually because it's about all of us collectively. Working in collaboration, working in cohesion, working in community, because North Node will shift into Aquarius in July 2026, where it remains until March 2028. And as North Node activates and enlivens the Aquarian themes of teamwork, of revolution, of the future, South Node, which operates in tandem with the North Node, will limit and decrease the Leo properties of applause, performance, and validation. And this has massive implications collectively. I mean, Aquarius is the sign of the collective. And with North Node and Aquarius, it is incredibly important that we move into this transit in solidarity, being very community focused and being very future forward. I mean, North Node and Aquarius is a slingshot into the future if I've ever seen one. Transit-wise. And it's bigger than what is showing up right here, right now. This is a generation-defining moment around how it is that we show up, how it is that we move towards the future, how it is that we create change, not just for ourselves, but for our fellow humans. And that requires us to work together, which North Node Aquarius is all about. And while this has major societal and collective implications that will continue to ripple out beyond this particular slice of time, it also has implications for your life, for your journey, for your chart, based on which house or houses hold Aquarius and Leo for you. Those are the arenas of life that are going to be shaken up at this time, because wherever the North Node and the South Node are transiting through, that is primarily where the eclipses will be concentrated within. And if you follow astrology, you know eclipses shake things up. They are divine detours, they are fated realignments, and it's not the sort of events that we can deem as 100% good or 100% bad. Sometimes something dramatic or chaotic happens at the moment that is exactly what was necessary in order for us to get in alignment with our true dharma, with our true path in this lifetime. Sometimes something bad shows up societally that is exactly what's necessary for us to swing in the opposite direction. When it comes to eclipses, when it comes to nodes, it's not so cut and dry that we can say it's all good or it's all bad or it's all favorable or it's all unfavorable. But what I can say, the definition that I'm confident in giving to you, is that it is meant to be. When we talk about the nodes, we talk about fate. It's bigger than just what we see right now, especially with North Node and Aquarius. While the events around these eclipses and around this transit altogether can be chaotic, can be dramatic, it is setting us up for the future, our individual future and the collective future that we are all co-creating together. So at the course of this video, we will dive deeply into what this transit is reflecting about this particular time down here on planet Earth. We'll talk about past events and trends that we have witnessed with this particular transit and how that foreshadows what 2026 to 2028 will have in store. We will talk about what it means if you have natal North Node in Aquarius. If you look at your chart and you see that your North Node is in Aquarius, your South Node is in Leo, you are entering your Nodal Return, which we'll dive deeply into what that means for you and your journey. You may observe that your nodes are flipped. You have North Node or True Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius. This means that you are stepping into your Nodal Reversal midway into 2026, going into early 2028, and we'll break that down as well. And even if you are not going into your Nodal Return, your Nodal Reversal, you still have a nodal story. Each and every one of us has a nodal story. So then we will transition to how you can find which life arenas will be shaken up with these nodes and thus these eclipses. Then we will take it house by house, sign by sign into your individual North Node and Aquarius forecast. Because yes, it's bigger than just you. It's bigger than just me. It's bigger than this moment in time. But that's not to say that there will not be personal effects felt by you as you navigate the present moment, which we will dive deeply into, and I will be your guide throughout the course of this video. If we have not met, if you have not joined me in my cosmic corner of the internet, hi, my name is Haley Comet. I have all sorts of astrological content here on my page, and I want to make it very clear that my aim eternally on my channel is to inspire you to co-create with the cosmos. What you will not find on my channel is fear-mongering. What you will not find on my channel is doom astrology around this is what it is, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I am passionate about translating the stars in a way that feels actionable, in a way that feels empowering, so that you feel excited about this next season of life that you are stepping into, knowing it will not be perfect because the sky reflects this human experience, which is, of course, very imperfect, but because you recognize this significance within your journey and within our journey altogether. So make sure to check out my other all signs forecasts on some other transits that are happening. I also have a weekly horoscope podcast called Magic Monday that you can check out what is happening every single week, how it is that you can co-create with the cosmos. I so deeply appreciate you being here. If you do get any value from this video, I would so deeply appreciate any little bit of engagement, a like, a comment, a share to a friend, subscription, do whatever you want. Just know that any button that you push is helpful for me and my channel and my cosmic corner of the internet. And I'm so grateful that you are here. As we'll talk about throughout the course of this video, Aquarius is very much around technology and it's very much around community. And while technology can have some shadow sides, I am very grateful for the people that I've been able to connect with online and the interwebs. And I'm just so grateful that you are here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into North Node Aquarius, South Node in Leo, from the me to the we. North Node moves into Aquarius and the South Node moves into Leo on July 27th, 2026, where they remain transiting those signs until March 26, 2028. And that is the time frame in which the North Node will be in Aquarius, the South Node will be in Leo. However, when it comes to the nodes, oftentimes the story reverberates beyond those dates. Consider the year 2026. The North Node does not officially shift into Aquarius until July 2026, but we had a solar eclipse in Aquarius February of this year, even though the North Node was still in Pisces. Come August, we will have an eclipse in Pisces, which is outside of the Leo Aquarius axis. So it's not so cut and dry that all eclipses during that time will be Leo in Aquarius, but most of them. And the story was foreshadowed before the transit officially begins. And the nodes create a full revolution every 18.5 years. And sometimes we can find that every time the North Node is in Aquarius, the South Node in Leo, familiar patterns play out collectively, societally, as well as for our lives. Last time the North Node was in Aquarius, the South Node was in Leo, was December 19th, 2007 to August 21st, 2009. And so as we begin to paint the picture of what North Node Aquarius will have in store for ourselves and for the collective at large, contemplating that particular slice of time may be helpful to tune into some dominant themes, hints, and patterns. Again, the slice of time that we're stepping into is novel. I'm not saying we're like a VCR and we're winding back exactly to that time period, but tuning into what showed up at that time, you may see certain threads to this particular slice of time as well. The time before that, May 23rd, 1989 to November 18th, 1990. The time before that, November 3rd, 1970 to April 27th, 1972. And I don't mean to just yell all of these dates at you, like here. We will fill in the details around what we've seen historically and societally throughout these transits. But as we dial into the story for you, if you were alive during these last passes, it might be helpful to contemplate, what do you remember about these moments in time? What was trending? What was in the news? What was happening societally? What was happening individually within your life that may be relevant as we shift into our individual readings, contemplating how the same arenas of your life were activated, likely in a different way. And so let's talk about what sort of themes would come up when it comes to North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. As I noted, the nodes move in tandem. North and South Node move together, and they always transit opposite signs together. They themselves are opposites. North Node is around increase, South Node is around decrease. North Node is around material gain, South Node is around spiritual letting go. North Node is basically a lit up arrow from the universe pointing us towards what we should focus on, and South Node is a point of less prioritization. And oftentimes within modern astrological discourse, there is this thought around South Node that it's something to be abandoned. It's something to be fully shed. And yes, there are themes of letting go. There are themes of decrease alive when it comes to the South Node. But it is a balancing act when we think of the North Node and the South Node. And it's not about abandoning or rejecting the themes of Leo when it comes to South Node and Leo. It's fascinating looking at this transit as it will coincide with Jupiter's transit through Leo, which is around expansion and amplification. So the Leo territory of your life is not to be abandoned and ignored, but it is important for you to shed and release the shadow sides of Leo energy, or at the very least, pull it into the Aquarius aim. And so what is the Aquarius aim? Let's get into it. South Node in Leo, North Node in Aquarius is about shifting from personal glory to public good. Leo, where the South Node is ruled by the sun, which is in the center of the solar system. That's why Leo is associated with leadership. It's associated with royalty. Things literally revolve around the sun. And with Jupiter and Leo, we are all being asked to step into our leadership, step into our creativity, step into our radiance and our shine, but not just for ourselves. It's a little lonely just being a sun without any planets around us. There is a desire for community at this time, for our people, for our friendships, for teamwork, really, with North Node and Aquarius. And so it's not about just shining in a galaxy all your own. It's around shining your gifts and understanding how that can make an impact with other people's lives. And understanding how you stepping into your shine, stepping into your glow, stepping into your talents helps other individuals. And that is so important to keep in mind with Jupiter also in Leo for the majority of this transit, because Jupiter in Leo is around stepping into our special abilities, stepping into our talents, stepping into our gifts, our creative expression. But if it's just for that, if it's just for applause, if it's just for validation, if it's just to get an ego boost, this transit is going to be like, what's the point? Like, this is a time in which societally and collectively, we're all getting the ick at people just doing things for attention, just doing things for performance, just doing things to have their ego stroked. We're all collectively getting the ick. And there is a difference between using your talents in order to acquire fame, in order to acquire attention, in order to acquire validation, feed me, versus using your talents and abilities to shine, uplift, and illuminate other people. Like Leo can be a very, look at me, look how special I am. And North Node Aquarius is around, yeah, look at me, but look at you. Allow my specialness, my glow, my creative expression, remind you and reflect to you what you are capable of. You know, the sun is a star, but we're a part of a galaxy of many other stars. And this is a time for all of us to call upon our inner star power. Aquarius in the tarot is the star card. And so there is an energy around not stepping into your talents and your abilities and your leadership just for your own ego, understanding how you shining fully helps other humans, inspires other humans, reflects to other people what they are capable of. And not doing things just for the ego payoff, just for the validation. Ick. And it's understanding whatever your talents are, whatever your abilities are, whatever makes you special, that was given to you purposefully. I cannot overstate how significant it is for all of us to be alive at this particular moment in time. And I know right now it feels like a really intense time and place to be alive. I'm not invalidating that at all. But I want to say that this transit is coinciding with Pluto in Aquarius. It's coinciding with Uranus in Gemini. It's coinciding with these massive transits. And it's understanding that who it is that you are, who it is that you were designed to be, your talents, your abilities were given to you in order to participate in what is showing up, in order to participate in this particular slice of time, in this particular era. And you might be like, well, I'm good at acting, I'm good at crochet, I don't know how that's going to make a difference, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pull that into public good. You never know how you were equipped with that particular talent to inspire others, to help others. And you don't need to figure it all out right now, but it's really tuning into your why and staying very focused on how you can make a difference, how it is that you can uplift other people, how you can use your talents and your abilities to make waves, to be a change maker, however it is that you were meant to. We all have unique passions, unique talents, unique abilities. This is not about abandoning those. Like Leo is around our creative expression. It's about our life force. It's not about abandoning it. It's around understanding, how can this make a difference for other people? How can I connect with other people around this particular hobby? How is it that I can utilize what makes me special and unique to make a difference within this particular era, within this particular generation? And this transit also shifts from applause to activism. Like I said, it's not just around performance. It's not just around doing things because it makes you look a particular way. It's really seeing, how can this make a difference? And sometimes we don't know why exactly we're good at something. Maybe you have some sort of unusual talent. You have some sort of unusual passion. You never know how it can make a difference. I'm seeing within my mind's eye, there was an individual online who sold photos of herself, I'll say it there, to help out with the wildfires. I'll have to check when that was the case. I'm not saying you literally have to do that, but sometimes we look at certain things that we've been given, whether it's beauty and a way in front of a camera, right, in that particular instance. And sometimes we can think, well, what's the point of this? How could this possibly make a difference? But you never know how it could help to make a difference in a very zany, unusual way in that instance. Or another example would be, maybe you love to crochet and you're like, Haley Comet, how is that going to save the world or help other people? But maybe you join a crochet club and you help other people gain more confidence in their crochet abilities. You know, passion is wonderful when it is shared. And that's really the energy of North Node Aquarius, as well as honing into how you can make things different. Like, that's the nature of activism, how we can make a change. And not just have our talents and abilities around, oh, you're so good at this, you're so talented, you're so this. It's utilizing your platform or your gifts and zooming in on your why, how you want to make things different for future generations. It's leveraging the currency of fame, the currency of creativity, the currency of charisma towards a bigger aim, in order to make a difference, whatever that may be, no matter how large of a scale or small of a scale. You were made to be the way that you are purposefully. And sometimes that's hard to do. You know, sometimes it's easier to just perform, to be what other people want you to be. Sometimes taking a stand is not necessarily popular. And the shadow side of Leo is wanting the applause. You know, please, I'm a star. Like, it's wanting the spotlight. It's wanting center stage. It's wanting to perform in order to have that applause, to be acknowledged. You're special. You're talented. And it's very challenging to go against the grain, to be unconventional, to take a stand around something that is corrupt, to make some sort of waves in your industry if something is not humane, to stand up for what you believe in, even if that is not a popular way of being. Sometimes the applause dims down. But with North Node and Aquarius, it's really living by the future you believe in, and not just the future that you believe in, but the future that you are co-creating. And this transit reflects going from recognition to revolution. I mean, Aquarius is the sign of the future. As I stated, Pluto is also here as well. And even though we have experienced North Node and Aquarius before, nobody alive on planet Earth has experienced North Node and Aquarius happening in tandem to Pluto and Aquarius. That's where we get into. This is a brand new season of life, and one that's big, one that can define what is to come. And so it's important to really contemplate whatever makes you unique, whatever makes you special, to contemplate, how have you been given that in order to make a difference, in order to revolutionize, in order to make change. And even if you don't recognize your specialness, I guarantee there's something about you that is unique, that is special. It's even contemplating what makes your heart beat faster. Leo is the heart space. What ignites you? What are you passionate about? Even if it doesn't seem like that could be a tool towards revolution or a tool around changing the world, you never know. You know, I'm a believer that passion is energy, and that's like a sign from the universe around what we're here for. You know, there are people who are incredibly passionate about the environment. There are people who are incredibly passionate about the cosmos. There are people who are incredibly passionate about animals. Whatever it is, you can make a difference. And it's pulling that passion into purpose. This is where we get into a balance, because I'm not saying with South Node Leo, we need to abandon what it is that we're passionate about, what makes our heart happy. It's contemplating, how can this make a difference? Many people could look at astrology and be like, how could that make a difference in anyone's life? But I can say for sure, it has made a profound difference within my life. And it's how it is that you use that passion as a tool. It's how it is that you use what lights you up in order to ignite other people, in order to provide hope for other people, whatever it is, your talents, your abilities, how can that be leveraged? And South Node is a point of decrease. So individuals who have delusions of grandeur, who are very egotistical, who are incredibly self-centered, who have no regard for others, this may be timed with some major reality checks or some major humbling moments. And also, a lot of us can struggle to connect to our life force energy, connect to our joy, connect to our heart, or even connect to our specialness. It's important for all of us to shine within this galaxy, within this constellation of how we're all meant to work together to make a difference at this time. You need to hone your inner star power, not in a sense around people need to revolve around me and it's all around me. But a lot of people could be feeling more down about themselves around, how could I possibly do anything? Or there's nothing unique about me. There's nothing special about me. And it's important to call upon that, especially with Jupiter and Leo. I'll link that video below. Make sure to check that out because those are coinciding. And you have to stay connected to your joy. You have to stay connected to your passion. You have to stay connected to your specialness. But it's important to filter that towards the common good or making a difference, making an impact. And really contemplate, why does this make my heart beat faster? Why is this something I've always been good at? Or why is this part of my personality? We all have a different part to play as it relates to the revolution, as it relates to making a difference. We all have particular gifts that are going to be necessary for us to employ. And when it comes to the powers that be, making us feel like we are insignificant and what we do has no impact whatsoever is a way to keep us small. We have to step into our particular gifts in order to work together, because we all have different things that we're here to do. Some people are passionate about environmental activism. Some people are passionate about community aid. Whatever it is, find your thing, hone it, and make a difference with it. And even like personality types too. Like some people are very extroverted and they're very outgoing and they're good at kind of like bringing people together. Some people are introverted and they love to do deep research on different topics. And this is a time to really contemplate, why am I this way? And why was I given these particular gifts in order to make a difference? Staying very focused on that. Shifting from validation to vision is important at this time. Vision in terms of our long-term prospects, the future. You know, Leo represents the right now, the present moment, which is amazing. Have things that ignite joy. Again, when we are in our joy, when we are in our passion, when we are enthused by life, we can share that with others. We can get other people excited. That's going to be necessary, but it's important to keep our eyes on the future. With North Node Aquarius, this can be a time of massive technological advancements, massive innovation, massive space travel and exploration. What we've seen with past transits is significant space travel. In the 1970 to 1972 past, we had Apollo 14 and 15. And in the 89 to 90 past, we did have the 20th anniversary of Apollo 11 mission. And the president at the time, George Bush, declared that having more space travel to Moon and Mars was absolutely a priority. And we can see that rippling into this particular past as well. We also see certain inventions or new creations that disrupt, that change industries, that change how things are done. Consider the most recent past, late 2007 to 2009. This was the time that Airbnb was established, and that did disrupt the hospitality industry. And it does kind of bring more shift around things that are more community access. Of course, with Airbnb, you have to purchase in order to get access to people's homes, but something that was private was now publicly available. And that's very North Node in Aquarius, a very kind of community-centric focus and innovation. And it takes looking towards the future, contemplating how things can be different. South Node Leo in its shadow expression can be, I'm going to do what will for sure grant me applause, what will for sure give me validation. Whereas North Node Aquarius is like, people might think this is weird, it might fail, it might flop, it might make waves that shifts humanity moving forward. It's important to break out of the mold around what will 100% secure applause in order to contemplate what will define this generation, what will make a difference. And it's important to be future forward in that way, to not just do what validates your ego now, but what makes a difference for your grandchildren's children and those who come after that, to be focused on impact, to be focused on legacy, not for your own aim, but the greater good of humanity altogether. Why are we here if not to evolve? And speaking of evolution, this is also a shift from clout to community. We can absolutely expect evolution of our digital spaces as well, with North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. Consider the most recent past, late 2007 to midway 2009. This was the MySpace era, and it was a time on the internet that was not concerned around, look at me, look how many likes I have, look at how many followers. It was concerned with community connection. I mean, on MySpace, it was really savage. We had like top 8s. We would rank our friends. That was a little intense, but it was a focus on connection, but also around expressing ourselves and getting a little weird with it. MySpace had the youth learning how to code, like at a young age, in order to have the cool, sparkly layout backgrounds, in order to design your page in the way that you wanted it to be, to make it truly your own. And there was a vibe at the time. Keep in mind, I was in middle school when this occurred, but when this transit was the case, it was cool to be weird. It was cool to be different. And that was kind of the vibe at the time. It's like, nobody understands me. Style-wise, a lot more people were drawn to skater aesthetic, scene aesthetic, emo aesthetic. Aquarius is the sign of the outcast. And it was a time in which it was kind of cool to be an outcast, or cool to own where it is that you were different or you were against the grain, where it is that you're unconventional. And so particularly as it relates to how it is that we interact with digital spaces, it's not about doing what will for sure get virality or clicks or visibility with South Node Leo. It's around what is real, what is authentic, which I know is a buzzword that we hear a lot on digital spaces, but it's almost like honoring your own inner weirdo and letting that be the siren's call that call in fellow weirdos who are on your same vibration, who are on your same wavelength, decorating your online spaces and your pages in a way that are authentically your own, even if not everybody gets it. Not everybody gets the layout, not everybody gets the song, in a way that is authentic, in a way that is a genuine representation of who it is that you are, freak flag and all. And letting that call in authentic community to you. There is such a focus on community at this time. I think a lot of people are craving connection more than ever, craving friendship more than ever, community. Also with that past, keeping in mind I was in middle school, what I also recall about that time is Twilight was huge. Twilight was huge, and you can say whatever you want about that, but a part of the Twilight discourse was what team you were on. Are you Team Jacob? Are you Team Edward? There is a desire for belonging, even as it relates to people who felt like they were on the fringe of society, who felt misunderstood, who didn't feel accepted. Other people were also in that vibe with you. And finding community in that space around, it's better to be around people where you can let your freak flag fly and be truly yourself, rather than around people where you had to perform. South Node in Leo is not interested in performance in any arena of life. I would imagine none of us are in middle school anymore, so of course this looks different, but this could bring about a focus around, where is it that I feel like I need to play a role? Where is it that I need to perform? A lot of times with South Node Leo, there's this feeling around, in order to receive love, in order to have connection, I need to play a role. I need to be extraordinary. I need to be special. That's how it is that I'm going to be seen. That's how it is that I'm going to be recognized. That's how it is that I'm going to get what I want. And sometimes that desire to be the star, to have the attention, to be center stage, it's lonely. You get to center stage and it's just you on the stage and everybody's looking at you, but you're not part of something. And that's why this transit is about going from spotlight to solidarity. It's around stepping off the stage in order to be part of the crowd, part of the people. Owning your specialness, yes, and your creative abilities, but knowing that so many of us feel like we had to perform or be extraordinary in order to receive love or to be worthy of love. And sometimes that drives you to success and actualization, just to find that it feels lonely at the top, or it feels lonely in center stage. It feels lonely under the spotlight. And so it is around honing your talents and your abilities, absolutely, but using them in order to find more connection, in order to find more community, to recognize that, yes, we're all special and unique, but not one person on this planet is better than anybody else. Like, that is the very mentality that is being shed with South Node in Leo, is feeling like any one of us is greater than anybody else. Like, it really kind of is equalizing the playing field around recognizing we're all people. Even celebrities, even royals, even icons are people at the end of the day. This is a more people-oriented approach. You know, when we think about North Node Aquarius, Aquarius is a more detached, sometimes nonchalant energy. And it's important to know that sometimes you meet your idols, like your favorite celebrity, someone that you just love seeing on the big screen. And sometimes in real life, you're like, they're not all I cracked them up to be, because at the end of the day, they're just humans. Their stuff stinks, if you know what I mean. Like, we're all humans at the end of the day. Like, nobody is better than another person. And individuals who do have superiority complexes, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a humbling transit, because this is not a time that we are bowing down to individuals just because they are wealthy or just because they are successful. It's like recognizing we're all humans at the end of the day. Can I have a genuine conversation with you? Do I admire your values? Do I admire your vision? Do I admire what you're doing with your wealth and your beauty and your success? You know, all of these things are tools. They're all currency that you can utilize towards a bigger why. And this is going to be a time when it's clear that a lot of people have these things. It's like, what's your why? What's the point? You just want to be the richest person on planet Earth for what? What's the point? And that's why we're shifting from celebrity to contribution. This is going to be an interesting time as it relates to celebrity culture. Again, Jupiter is in Leo for part of this, so I don't foresee celebrity culture going away, but I do foresee looking at fame as a tool in order to make a difference, and us being less gagged over individuals who are very famous or very wealthy or very beautiful, whatever it is, without really doing anything about it. And it's not to say every single human is here to be the biggest humanitarian and the biggest activist, but it's like, what are you doing with your gifts? What are you doing with your talents? And what are you doing with your abilities? And is this someone who is worthy of my attention? Like, attention is currency. And so this is a time in which individuals who have been feeding off of other people's attention and validation and praise, they may feel a little left in the cold due to what's happening societally and collectively. Less people are wanting to hear about how many bags that you purchased when other people are struggling to eat. Less people are interested around how many Oscars that you won when there are horrible things happening around this planet. Like, wow, entertainment, creativity, fame, celebrity, what have you, I don't foresee that going away entirely. I do think that there is a little bit of a shift here where it's like, what's really the point of this? Especially if there's certain people within the media where it's this very vampiric energy around, give me your attention, give me your devotion, let me make sure I'm always in the spotlight, always in the headlines. There's an energy around, for what? And more people being a little bit more detached or nonchalant around, I don't need to pay this any attention. This is also a time that's about shifting from praise to purpose. Again, with North Node Aquarius, it's staying community-minded. It's staying future-focused. It's staying group-oriented, where it's important to give back. It's important to help others. And I do think with South Node in Leo, as well as Chiron in Taurus, which we'll have at this time, I do think that there may be a more hopeless vibe in the collective. And I say that not as a harbinger or as a promise, but more so a potential possible side effect of this transit that I would encourage you not to fall into. This could bring energies of anhedonia, hope I'm saying that right, a lack of pleasure or interest in anything. Like, what's the point? What's the point of doing what I love? What's the point of having pleasure within my life? And it's important to conjure that, because that's going to be important to help other humans. And one of the best ways to spark our own joy is helping others. Like, truly, if you are ever feeling hopeless, if you're ever feeling disheartened, making a difference in someone else's life is one of the best things that you can do for your overall mood and joy. And the studies back this up, okay? We get such a benefit when we help others. If you are going through it, if you're feeling down in the dumps, doing a random act of kindness, volunteering, donating does enliven you more, and you make a difference. So it's like a net positive for all involved. And I know it's hard to do the thing, especially when you're like, what's the point? But especially at this time, being very focused on purpose and making a difference and uplifting others and being community oriented. What can I do for my community? What can I do for my fellow humans? How can I make people feel more included? How can I make people feel more cared for community wise? You know, it's interesting because Aquarius is a little bit more distant personally, but it's very available collectively. Having strong purpose, even if it's not changing lives of people globally, seeing what it is that you can do for those within your own backyard, even if it's something so small, you get a payout from that as well. It does make a difference. Every little bit makes a difference. This transit signals a shift from drama to dharma. And what I mean by this, I'm not calling Leos dramatic, okay, but Leo energy can be a bit theatric, right? It's larger than life. It's a really big personality, which is why Leo placements tend to be very, very charismatic. But it's important to employ this more logical, cerebral, detached Aquarius perspective. Again, like I said with eclipses, sometimes things happen that feel like the worst thing ever. And it's going to be important not to be super dramatic around it's over for me and the universe hates me and why would this happen? Like with North Node Aquarius, it's going to be important to employ that more detached perspective around, is that so? And let time do its thing. Let the events snap into place, because sometimes with eclipses, they really do set us up for the future, even if we do not see it at that particular moment in time. And so it's going to be really important to not be overly dramatic or have a meltdown or be like, why is the universe against me? To just strive to remain logical, if possible, to strive to remain more detached from it. And when we think of the Aquarian nature of detachment, you know, that does not mean being avoidant or living life with everything at arm's length. It's remaining connected to the world around you and your fellow humans, but not attached, like not rigidly attached around things need to show up in this particular way or with this particular person. It's remaining connected, but not attached to anything, trusting that things will fall as they're meant to, and staying very focused on your dharma, on your why, whatever that is. That's different person to person. That's why we have all been given our own unique talents and abilities, but it's staying focused around how this can make a difference in other people's lives, no matter how big or how small. It's staying focused on that. Again, you get a payoff from that too. Making a difference in other people's lives not only enlivens them, but it also lifts you up as well. And think about how powerful we are when we remain focused around how we can make a difference for our fellow humans, when we think in terms of the we and not just the me. And that's where it's important to not be a drama king, a drama queen, like overly in the Leo energy and life is over and it's all about me. It's staying focused around, maybe I had this dramatic situation happen. Maybe I would deem this as bad, but where can I turn this into something beneficial? You know, I have a weekly horoscope called Magic Monday, and there's so many things that have happened to me that I would deem as a bad thing or a negative thing. But when I'm able to talk about it on my show and other people relate, it feels all worth it. I'm like, okay, if that story made one other person feel seen or validated around what they're going through, it was worth it. 1,000,000 times over. It's just important to know that it's bigger than us and to not get so caught up around the universe hates me and it's all over for me. It's like we're all humans together, and that still is a very egotistical, self-centered view of the world, thinking that the universe hates you and is punishing you. It's seeing around, hey, okay, I had this experience. How can this create and foster more connection with others, more collaboration with others, or give certain wisdom or advice to somebody else, or bring me closer to community? You know, when things go down, that's when we lean on our people. And another shift that we will see throughout the course of this transit is the shift from excess to equality. North Node Aquarius, South Node in Leo is not necessarily timed with stellar economic times. Like thinking of the most recent past, 2008 was the Great Recession. It was not a favorable time economically, and other factors of what we're experiencing in 2026 to 2028 signal the same. This is not me fear-mongering, it's just saying a pattern that we tend to see within the astrology. But what I want to say is that this is a time in which we're less interested in people who are gloating, people who are flexing their wealth, their bags, for no real aim. If you have Aquarius North Node within your natal chart, that means in the years 2026, 2027, 2028, you are stepping into your nodal return, which occurs every 18 and a half years. So when we talk about your North Node of your chart, that is your destiny. That is what you are meant to go towards within this lifetime. It is not necessarily the territory of life that is the most natural. That actually is more associated with your South Node. If the idea of past lives resonates, it's often considered that your South Node represents where it is that you have past life expertise. And thus, in this lifetime, there's natural ease, natural affinity. Even if the idea of past lives doesn't resonate, you could find a natural ease in the arena of your South Node. It can represent your early life, and it can just represent an arena of life that doesn't always challenge you that much. North Node challenges us, and what challenges us changes us. Like North Node is our hero's journey. It's how it is that we advance the plot of our soul. It's how it is that we learn and step into different sides of ourselves within this physical incarnation. It's not always what is the most seamless for us. And what this story means for you is that you have had lifetimes, or you have had early life experiences around feeling like you had to be special, feeling like you had to be adored, feel like you had to be on stage in order to receive love, really. A lot of times with Leo South Node, there was this embedded feeling around, I need to be a star, I need to be famous, I need to be actualized, I need to be accomplished, I need to be celebrated and recognized, as though you had to be on the big screen in order to be seen altogether. Like sometimes this desire for fame, for specialness, isn't so much around you wanting to step into all that you are, but more so feeling like other people will not like me or see me unless I'm special. And that can drive you to being an overachiever. It can drive you to building a life around performance, playing the role of what will secure you validation. And in this lifetime, you're meant to take that charisma, that creativity, that generosity, that heart energy, however the Leo energy surfaces for you based on what house it's in within your natal chart. You're meant to pull that into a collective aim, a collective purpose, a collective team effort, rather than feeling like I need to be recognized and celebrated in order to feel connected. This is a life around shifting from I need to be seen in order to feel validated to I need to see others in order to feel fulfilled. Like I need to feel part of something. I need to be part of a team. Even if you are a leader, you are creative, you are on the stage. Because I'm not saying you have to abandon all of the energies of Leo. It's just pulling into North Node Aquarius. How do my creative talents help advance the differences that I want to see? How does my leadership style allow those on my team to feel more acknowledged, to feel more seen? You know, you could have a story around being a natural leader, natural manager, but having to kind of shift into a more team-oriented energy around, rather than it's all about me and I'm the leader and I'm the boss and I'm the manager, being very focused around what's the team vibe, what's the company culture, and recognizing how that consideration of other people makes you an amazing leader. You can also feel like I'll finally connect with others once I have secured enough admiration, once I've secured enough actualization, once I've secured enough applause for myself. But with North Node Aquarius, it's building a life around community, around teamwork, being part of something, putting your unique talents and abilities towards a vision that is bigger than your own. And this can also be an energy around finding people who are on the same wavelength. Like that can be something very fulfilling in this lifetime. You know, as we noted with South Node Leo, Leo is the archetype of the celebrity, of the royal. And while these are individuals that are glorified and seen, a lot of times it can be very lonely. It can be a very lonely existence, being separated from the people, being only seeing security and people every single day. Like you could have had a past lifetime where you were special, where you were acknowledged, where you were celebrated. But in this lifetime, you craved connection, you craved community, which is exactly what you're here to find. You also can be very tapped into where the future is going and be very gifted around how your abilities and talents can help humanity toward that. So trust your visions, trust your ideas, and lean upon other people to bring it to life. Don't feel like it needs to be all about you, like it's about the us with North Node Aquarius. Now, I do have a video to dive deeper into that natal placement to understand it, but what I want to highlight here is what may surface with this. This is essentially a cosmic check-in around if you've been doing that work. You might be listening to this and be like, Haley Comet, yes, I have been prioritizing team. I've been prioritizing my community. I've been future focused. This could be a time of feeling your soul slingshot forward. If you've been working towards something, this could be a time in which things click into place. And it's not just about success or actualization. Like North Node is our dharma, it's our soul's purpose, it's our soul's calling. There can be certain events that transpire at this time that are very fated, where a lot of your past experiences have prepared you for this particular moment in time, this juncture in time. If you do not relate with the North Node Aquarius energy, there could be certain awakenings at this time that are meant to get you in alignment with this path. If you've been living overly in the South Node Leo energy, this could be a time around recognizing how you are the sum of the people that you are around. This can be a time where you start to think more critically about the future, and certain events, particularly around eclipses, could come into place in order for you to have those revelations, to have those ahas. And so, to put it simply and bluntly, this is a time in which you're walking hand in hand with fate. Our North Node is what we are nudged to move towards, to go towards, but it is a matter of free will. And a lot of times with Nodal Return, there's all sorts of events that transpired that are brought to the surface for the purpose of us getting in alignment with our soul's path, with our dharma, and leaning into this. If you have North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius within your natal chart, that means in July 2026, you are stepping into your Nodal Reversal, aka the nodes are flip-flopped. Within your own blueprint, your North Node is in Leo, your South Node is in Aquarius. Globally, we're shifting into a season where North Node is in Aquarius, South Node is in Leo. And it tends to create this energy around having to go backwards in order to move forward. So let's dig into this. I want to firstly bring to the surface what it means that you have North Node in Leo. North Node within our birth chart, it represents a point of focus, a point of emphasis, a point of gain. It's not necessarily what naturally comes easy to us, but it's where we can experience a lot of fulfillment to a soul level if we follow the North Node. South Node, in opposition, tends to be an arena where we have natural expertise, natural gifts, natural ability, natural ease. Some believe it's because of past life experiences that we've had with the South Node. Some people believe it represents early within this lifetime where we start our journey. But either way, with you having South Node Aquarius, you may be a little bit more comfortable being part of a team, being part of a group. You could have had past life experiences where you were lost in the shuffle around being one of many, and that could be a bit of a cosmic comfort zone for you. It could be uncomfortable for you to chisel your star power because you could feel more naturally at home being part of a group, being part of a team, and not having the spotlight on you. But the spotlight is exactly what you are here to chisel as it relates to your birth chart story. I found it fascinating digging into this and seeing that many individuals who were part of bands and groups who then were the breakout star have this particular nodal placement within their chart. Beyonce has South Node Aquarius, North Node in Leo. She started in Destiny's Child, and then, of course, she stepped into her star power in a glorious way. I mean, she's Beyonce. Justin Timberlake started in NSYNC and then chiseled his solo career. Like with South Node Aquarius, even if you're not part of a musical group or a band, there can be a natural comfort zone of your soul around being part of a team, part of a group, or being more collectively oriented, where it could be uncomfortable for you to make things about yourself or step into a position of visibility. Even if you recognize that sometimes stepping into your leadership, stepping into your creativity, stepping into your talents helps and uplifts other humans, it could be uncomfortable for you to do that. But that's what you're here to chisel to a big picture level. Now, I do have a video that I will link below where you can dive deeper into that story, but this year is not necessarily about that. Again, that's the story of your journey altogether, but this chapter of your journey is about digging into that South Node Aquarius. Because North Node, a point of increase, is aligning with your South Node. And so you can find within your journey, you're having to go back to the past with something. You could revisit a past era of your life. You could do some past life remembering of some way. You could move back to a hometown or find yourself reminiscing on past seasons of your life. You could reconnect with past friendships of yours or even past visions for the future could be something you are reconnecting. Now, we know life does not move backwards, right? Life moves forward. And even at this moment in time, your life is proceeding forward, but oftentimes there's certain gems that we have to find from the past in order to proceed forward. And while overall you're asked to work on your leadership and living a life based off your heart and allowing yourself to be visible as represented by your North Node in Leo, this is a season of life in which a lot of your life school will be centered around groups, community, collective initiatives, teamwork, energy, which again is a bit of a comfort zone for you and not something to prioritize with the big picture of your journey, but absolutely something that is coming up for review in this particular season of life. Nodal reversal can be a confusing time. I mean, we're having to go backwards in order to go forwards. We're having to revisit the past in order to build the future. Like, it's a little bit of a cosmic realignment of sorts, and it can be confusing. Sometimes we can feel a little stagnant, we can feel a little stuck, but it's knowing that your life is proceeding forward, that you are building forward. It just could be an interesting path to get there. I mean, North Node is in the wacky sign of Aquarius, okay? Things could get a little wacky, but it's important to know it's all happening for a reason. And this can be such a beneficial time to dig into past lives or to dig into your past in order to better understand the unique human that you are here to chisel and building things that come naturally for you. This also could be a time around really digging into this Aquarius energy and recognizing where, in big and small ways, sometimes it holds you back. This energy around not wanting to be seen, where that holds you back in your own development, not putting yourself out for a certain promotion, or if you want to create content online, feeling uncomfortable being perceived. North Node aligning with your natal South Node may bring that up for review. Aquarius may be a very collective influence, but each and every one of us will have a personal story with North Node in Aquarius. So we will shift into our individual readings where you can figure out where within your chart holds Aquarius and Leo, and thus which arenas of your life will be shaken up by this new nodal story. And it's important to note that not all nodal stories are created equally. Some are more disruptive, some are more major, and some are more subtle. And so the main characters of North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo is, of course, Aquarius and Leo placements will be strongly impacted when it comes to these eclipses, as well as the other fixed signs. Scorpios and Tauruses can also feel some major shifts brewing with this new nodal story and accentuated with eclipses. And before you write or type below, wait, Haley Comet, is that a good thing or a bad thing? When it comes to eclipses, they just are. It is impossible to categorize eclipses and being a main character of a nodal story as 100% a good thing, 100% a bad thing. It's going to be 100% fated, destined, and divined is what I can tell you, because there's a lot of nuance when it comes to eclipses and a lot of things that we may deem at the moment as something not ideal, but later sets us up for exactly where we're meant to be. And I genuinely mean that. And I'm speaking from the heart here. My entire chart was shaken up by the last nodal story, and it actually set into motion some really beautiful changes within my world. So I am holding the vision of the same for you. And even if you are not one of those 4 signs that we named, you still have a personal story with North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. You still have some fated, destined, divine shifts coming your way. And in order to figure that out, there are 2 ways to proceed with the rest of the video. The first option, if you use whole house sign system or you are newer to astrology, you will look below and you will find your rising sign, also known as your ascendant sign. You do need an exact time of birth in order to dial into that. If you don't have that, you are welcome to use solar houses. Just find your sun sign below. The other option to proceed with the rest of this video will be appropriate if you use Placidus house system. And this is a little trickier, so I will guide you in an on-screen tutorial around how you can figure out where exactly North Node, Aquarius, South Node, and Leo will impact your chart and thus your life. So we'll be able to walk through it. So I personally recommend the website astro.com. When you input your birth information, you will get a circle chart that looks like this. This is the Aquarius glyph. I am circling it on screen. And this portion of the sky represents where North Node is transiting and where a lot of the eclipses moving forward will be. So we'll want to see what arena of inner planet Janet's chart, in this case, that Aquarius glyph covers. When we look towards the inner ring, we see that that Aquarius glyph is on the outside of both her first house and her second house. And since the North Node and the South Node always move as a pair, we know that Leo will be in the houses opposite to that. So Leo will be in the 7th house and the 8th house. But honing in on Aquarius, Inner Planet Janet will listen to 2 readings. She'll listen to North Node in Aquarius in the 1st house, North Node in Aquarius in the 2nd house. And that will also pull in the story of South Node in Leo. Within this particular option, the glyph may just be in 1 house. It may cover 2 or 3 houses, and this gets specific around which particular arenas of your chart are being activated by this nodal story and thus the eclipses. So now that you know exactly which reading to dial into, let's take it into our all signs, all houses, North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo forecast. Aquarius risings, come forward. We need to have a chat. Or if you have any Aquarius degrees within your 1st house, you are also invited to said chat because you are moving into a major transit as it relates to your chart and your journey. So buckle in. My loves, buckle in. And the reason I'm saying this is because in July 2026, the North Node will shift into Aquarius, where it remains until March 2028. And that is where the eclipses will be concentrated. This within your chart corresponds to your 1st house. You know what 1st house is about? Self. Identity, appearance. You are a main character of this particular transit, and you are going to step into novel, bold sides of yourself throughout the duration of this transit. North Node Aquarius, South Node in Leo for you is about shifting from performance to presence. Because South Node in Leo in your 7th house means that you are no longer acquiescing to the role that other people want you to play. And you could actually be very conscious of that over this period where you feel yourself having to play into somebody else's perception, having to people please, having to play into a certain role that somebody expects you to be. You are really striving to be fully authentic with all of the connections within your life. You're no longer willing to acquiesce. You're no longer willing to overly accommodate. And any connection that was built on the foundation of you having to play a certain role or being loyal beyond what was necessary may fall away at this time. And this is not me saying this to fearmonger you whatsoever. And I'm not saying that every single one of you will go through some sort of breakup or some sort of separation of some sort. But what I will say is that these eclipses, this nodal story is going to reveal who loves you as you are versus who loves you for what you do for them, their ego, their sense of self. And when we talk about fixed signs, North Node Aquarius, South Node Leo, a lot of you are Aquarius risings. Like, fixed signs are the ride or dies of the zodiac. Like, this is a very dependable modality altogether. And so you could have been very loyal to people and to situations where it did not benefit you whatsoever. And North Node in Aquarius, to put it bluntly, is a time in which you are choosing yourself. When you choose yourself and you genuinely choose yourself, the right people, opportunities also choose you as well. So you may have some hard moments over the course of this transit around being at a fork in the road where everybody else wants you to go a different way, but you know that you need to go in a different direction. And it may be hard to dim the noise of the external world or to even face disapproval. You know, this may be a transit in which you're having to get very comfortable letting people down and knowing that it's better to let people down rather than let your higher self down. You know, when you do what other people want you to do for so long, it builds resentment. And some of you may have been in that space in the eclipses, and the Nodal story is going to accentuate that space that you've been in. And yes, some people's true colors may be revealed. You know, especially when you choose yourself, that's really when you see people's true colors. Because sometimes you'll be in a certain connection, you'll be in a certain partnership, you'll be in a certain relationship, and it's all going well because you are not standing up for yourself, because you are playing into what that person wants you to be, because you are not advocating for yourself, because you're being unnecessarily loyal and covering for this person in every way. And it starts to get interesting when you find your power, because that's what you're doing. Throughout the course of this transit, you are finding your power. And that's when connections get tested around, can you be with me in my power? Or do you only like me when I am your sidekick, when I am playing to your ego? That will reveal quite a bit. And the right connections will grow and evolve with you. You're in a massive growth spurt, Aquarius. Like, who it is that you will be March 2028 when this transit is complete is going to be vastly different. And not all of you are Aquarians. If you use Placidus house system, there may be some people who are not Aquarians here, but regardless, having nodes in the first house means that there's a lot of focus around who you are and wanting to get to know yourself. You know, when we disconnect from what other people have wanted us to be, we get the joy and the pleasure of figuring out who we are and getting to intimately know ourselves. Sometimes we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to know ourselves. You know, if you are somebody who your sense of self is tethered to being in a relationship, this is the time to really get to know the unique individual you are. I'm aware that I'm talking to a lot of Aquarius placements who do tend to be quite independent, but this is a time to really choose yourself. And with South Node in the 7th house, choosing yourself above what the general public thinks of you, choosing yourself above what your business partner wants you to do, choosing yourself despite what your spouse wants from you. And even if you are in a healthy, committed, amazing relationship, this can be a time that you are really wanting to be the best that you can be, and the right connections will allow that. Maybe you're in a season of life where your partner does all of the cooking and you're like, I really should learn how to feed myself. Like, this is a life skill that I should invest in. Or maybe you've gotten a little comfortable staying inside the house with your partner, and this is a time to be outside, to strengthen your social groups, to step into what you want out of life. And the right partnerships for you should support that. They may not totally understand it. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of Aquarius placements. You within yourself are a paradox. Nobody needs to get you, okay? But you need to understand you. And if there have been certain desires that you've been pushing down, or just aspects of life that you've been wanting to connect to, this is a time to prioritize that and see who can match your freak in a sense, or meet you in this empowered, confident season of your life. You know, you are going from performance to presence, because it's not that all of your relationships are falling away. It's just that you are striving to be very present in them. You know, sometimes we leave our bodies, we leave the chat in order to perform or be what other people want us to be. Having presence means I am here, I'm connecting with you as my full embodied self. Like, recognize if you have a tendency to dissociate a bit where you're spending time with someone, you don't even realize, oh, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Have I ate? What do I want? This is a time to hone in on what you want. And what's interesting is when someone has a lot of presence, when they're very embodied, they're very magnetic. So you're no longer wanting to perform. You're no longer wanting validation from the world at large. You're seeking validation from yourself, but it's making you very magnetic. I mean, this is a transit that can be very favorable if you've been wanting to be visible in something or putting yourself out there. North Node is essentially a point that can represent material gain. It also can be a space of ravenous consumption. So you might just be super lit up about self. And what's so fascinating is you have Aquarius in the first house. When you are lit up by self, that's where you can do the most good. And that's the paradox of the transit that you're stepping into, is that as we've been talking about, this is a transit to really hone in on groups and collectives, yet for you, this brings up a lot around self. So what this tells me is that I'm talking to some leaders out there, like individuals where for you to make the difference that you want to make, for you to inspire people in the way that you want to inspire people, it needs to be you. You know, especially if you have Aquarius placements. Like if you have Aquarius personal placements, part of you is tethered with the collective. You feel where the collective's at. You feel where the collective is going. And I do believe that you having the chart that you do is very purposeful. So there is a role for you to play within the essentially collective understanding. And this is a time in which you could feel the call, like from within around, it's my time to prioritize my business in order to inspire other people's. It's my time to be more vocal about my activism. Like, it's my time. And eclipses are really denoting that it is your time. That's not to say that every part of it is flawless and easy. Like, being a main character of eclipses is not always so seamless. I will tell you that people's true colors may be revealed. It may be very apparent who's growing with you and who you're growing away from. There can be an energy where you are really just relying on yourself and choosing yourself. There can be certain experiences that might shatter the sense of faith that you had with other people. You know, when I think about South Node Leo in the 7th house, but also Jupiter there, we have to keep that in mind that these transits are happening at the same time for most of this transit. When we think about this combination, it just feels like the energy when you've tried. You know, you've tried to be what other people wanted you to be, and maybe you have performed. You have gone above and beyond and strove to be as actualized as possible, as accomplished as possible, as loyal as possible. And I don't see this being a lonely time. Like, while there might be certain people where true colors are revealed, this is a magnetic time when it comes to people coming in. And you'll want to check out the Jupiter and Leo forecast on this, because we're looking at both of these happening at the same time for a majority of this transit. But it really brings to mind that quote, be you, so that those who are looking for someone like you knows how to find you. Like with North Node, Aquarius in the first house, this is the time to be your freaky deaky self, to call in people who can meet your freak on a freaky deaky wavelength, okay? Like, this is a time in which you should have more suitors, more attention from the outside world. But it's interesting because it feels like you're detached from it. You know, that is a principle of energy, is that when we don't care is when all of a sudden everything that we want shows up. And it's like, really? When I was chasing this person, they didn't want me. When I was chasing this opportunity, they didn't want me. And then now that I let it go, now everybody wants me. Now I'm the talk of the town. Now I'm the it girl, it boy, it they, what have you. And so I do feel like with North Node Aquarius in the first house, let your focus be being your very best self, stepping into all sides of yourself, staying focused on your vision for your life and your higher self. Let your higher self guide you. And let that pave the way. This is not a time to get very attached to it needs to be this person, it needs to be this business partner, it needs to be this opportunity. Connect to your higher self and they will guide you through. Because sometimes we do ourselves such a disservice. We strive to manifest or make something happen that it's like, if we were to consult our ancestors, if we were to consult our higher self, they're like, we have something so much better. for you. So certainly dream about what you want, have that vision for your life, follow your North Star in whichever direction, and trust that you've been given the talents, the abilities, the unique qualities to bring it into fruition. But trust your higher self and your ancestors in guiding you through, because there could be something bigger that you're not even feeling tapped into now. Some of you may get more into prophecy or being able to tune into the future and where you are needed in order to make a difference in the future, which is really a gift that Aquarius placements have, is that they are tapped into the future and where things are going. But the North Node could absolutely amplify that and electrify that even more so. So just be something for you to continue to chisel, or you might get a flash for an idea, for an invention, and you might be like, I don't know if I'm creative enough to make that happen. But it's knowing that these visions are choosing you. Like I said, North Node in the first house, choose yourself and you will be gobsmacked. All of the things that choose you throughout the course of this transit. I do also want to note that first house is around our physical vessel. And so some of you could be really working on your aesthetic. You could be really working on your appearance and wanting the outside to coincide with the inside. You know, some of you could be asking questions like, who am I really? And doing deep inner work to figure out, where have I been programmed? Where did I feel like I had to be for other people's validation? What social roles did I feel like I had to play? And this is the time around really getting to know yourself intimately, deeply. If you are a Capricorn rising or you have some Aquarius degrees within your second house, this is your North Node in Aquarius reading. And the journey that you are embarking upon from 2026 to 2028 is about shifting from validation to values. Rather than feeling like your validation comes from external sources, external places, it's building a life around what you value. And releasing where you've internalized what you should value or what even gives you value as well. I feel that a lot of you are doing a lot of shadow work at this time when we think about South Node in Leo, Jupiter in Leo, and recognizing where it is that you felt like you had to perform, where you felt like you had to be the best in order to be good, where it is that you felt like you had to go above and beyond to play into other people's perceptions of you, to get applause from others. Because when we think about the 8th house, where South Node in Leo will transit for you, 8th house is merged energy. And it's also a house that has to deal with debt and where it is that we feel indebted. So it feels like a lot of you have felt this debt, this psychic, energetic debt that you had to perform, that in order to be lovable, you had to be the best. You had to overachieve. You had to be the competent one, the strong one, whatever it may be. And this is a time around recognizing where that could have held you back from pursuing the things that you value and want out of life. Like, it's just giving that classic trope around a parent who never got to prioritize their football dreams or their ballet dreams, so they projected onto their child. And then it's like, do I value football? Do I value ballet? No, it's just something that was internalized and given to me. And then I felt like I had to be the best in this because of this psychic debt that I've incurred. Cancel. No. And even if it's not from family, I'm not even necessarily saying that. 8th house does not explicitly necessarily mean family. Anything that you felt like you've had to be for other people, felt like you had to be for your spouse. And when we get into where North Node is transiting for you, this is the territory of self-worth. And so there's a lot of confidence codes that are coming online throughout the course of this transit. And it's not necessarily the confidence around, I am absolutely the best at ballet or at football or whatever it is, or I've overachieved in every aspect of my life. It's confidence that comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and building a life that reflects around that, even if other people find it weird. You know, when we talk about Aquarius energy, this is often the energy that marches in accordance to its own drum. So there could have been other dreams that you felt like you've had to internalize. Maybe you felt like you've had to procreate because that's what's expected of you. You felt like you had to be some sort of boss. You felt like you've had to be a CEO. You felt like you had to be extraordinarily successful, even when you value different things out of life. And this is a time around really figuring out, what do I value? You've got to get to know yourself and allow that voice to be louder, because there are so many traps outside of ourselves that will get us into a life that is not our own. You know, popping out kids and then looking at the kids being like, I didn't even really want to be a parent, or climbing to the top of the corporate ladder and then realizing I didn't really have any corporate ambitions. Like, you've got to seize control over your life and build a life around what you value. And you have to be willing to defend that too. You know, so often people project their stuff onto you around, oh, you'll change your mind about children, or, oh, you'll regret it if you don't do this and that. Like, a lot of times people project what it is that they have not realized, or what it is that they have not fulfilled, or even what gives them fulfillment within their life. They project it onto you, and you have to be the one to decide what you value out of life, even if it's weird, even if other people don't get it, even if other people are like, oh, you'll change your mind, or you'll see with time. It's like, you've got to know yourself and be ferociously defensive of that, of other people who try to persuade you or even guilt you into certain lifestyles that don't align for you. And again, with Leo energy, it brings up a lot around competitiveness. And I am talking to a lot of Capricorn rising. So there is something embedded where you could feel like you always need to be the best, because sometimes we can get competitive about the wrong things, around looking at the world around us and feel like we have to compete. Looking at other people climbing the corporate ladder while we're raising babies and feeling like that's what we should be doing. Or while we are building our own business, looking at everybody else getting married and having children and thinking, oh, is that what I should do? Or depending on your age and life circumstances, of course, it's going to differ, but looking at everybody around you who is retiring or buying certain properties and thinking like, is that what I should do? And sometimes if we have this desire within, like this inner child desire within to win and to be special, we can look at other people taking certain steps within their life and have this fear around, am I getting left behind? Does this mean I'm not good enough? Especially if there's any internalized feelings within you around, you had to be extraordinary in order to be loved. You know, that is the case with a lot of very actualized people. This is the case with overachievers, where sometimes it really is like a bit of a trauma response or a coping strategy around feeling like in order to secure any attention, I need to be the best. And with North Node Aquarius in the second house, it's not to say that you need to wave goodbye to all your ambitions, nothing like that, but it's tuning in. What are your ambitions? What do you really value out of life? And how can you defend that even when it's different than what other people may want out of life? I will mention this is a financial story for you. South Node, a point of decrease, is in your 8th house of shared resources, even though Jupiter is also expanding that sector. And then North Node is in the 2nd house, which governs the money that you earn. And so you could be stepping into a juncture within your life in which you are earning your own income, especially if you've been reliant or dependent on somebody else supporting you. This could be a time that you want to be earning money in order to maybe have community with the energy of Aquarius house, or maybe this is a time in which you're stepping into some sort of nonprofit, or you are earning an income in a way that you feel like is also changing the world, you know, with the energy of Aquarius, even if other people would want you to do something different, you know, with letting go of other people's kind of projections and wants for your life. This can be a time that you are focused on your money. You could be getting your money up and like really tuning into the future that you want to have and how you can financially pay towards it. Because especially in a time like this, when we have Pluto and Aquarius, I know a lot of people are like, is there even going to be a future? What's the point of saving? What's the point of having visions and dreams? But it's important to know that people have said that in many other times of life. And if that has not been a priority for you, this could be a time around really taking charge of your financial reality in order to pay towards the future that you want to have, the dreams that you want realized. Like sometimes dreams within this physical reality, and I know you know this, a lot of Capricorns are watching this, you know, they take money. Like you could dream of a huge home with a farm and chickens and all of that. And North Node Aquarius is you taking charge in order to finance said home and said chickens. Whatever it is for you, you know, with North Node Aquarius in the 2nd house, you could be very legacy minded or future focused. If you do run some sort of business or you're in a particular position, you could be really thinking long term around the impact that you want to make. You could even be disrupting your income in some sort of way in order to keep up with the times. Or again, there can be disruptions to what is happening financially. And with North Node Aquarius, it's like staying tuned into where things are going and how it is that you can fit into it with what it is that you bring to the table. And second house is also our self-worth altogether. And so to change the world, you have to believe that you can change the world. And so if you are someone who gets really down on yourself around what's the point of even trying, like with North Node Aquarius, it's like recognizing when you feel empowered, when you feel capable and competent, that's where it is that you can empower others. That's where you can remind other people of their ability to be capable and competent. And to change the world, you have to be crazy enough to believe that you can. So there also can be stories around self-worth. And again, having to choose your values over what other people want for you or what other people want you to value. There can be certain disruptions as it relates to shared income, shared resources in some way with South Node there, whether it's like you're not relying on that as much. Maybe you had a business partner and now you're focused on your own income efforts. Your spouse could be going through some sort of shift financially, or maybe you have different sort of investment goals that are requiring a little bit more of an aggressive approach financially. There could be a theme like this, but ultimately it is around building a life around what you value and allowing that to be a grounding anchor. You know, when we talk about 8th house where South Node is, we can't always control what's happening in the 8th house. It's things like taxes, it's things like debt, it's things like death. And second house is possession. Second house is money. And of course, sometimes we get hit with unexpected expenses or things like that. But there is something very empowering around setting a financial goal and reaching it, or even wanting something and saving for it in order to purchase it. Like, it's not that all of confidence is hinged on that, but sometimes it can just feel good to know, like, I made this happen, or my hard work brought this to life, whether it's my own personal possessions, my bank account, or even the fundraising that I'm doing for other humans with the Aquarius part. This message is for you if you are a Sagittarius rising and or you have Aquarius degrees within the 3rd house. This is your North Node and Aquarius South Node in Leo story. It is about going from broadcasting to brainstorming. And let's unpack this because, you know, I'm talking to a lot of Sagittarians, and Sagittarius is a sign that is around finding your truth and declaring it and broadcasting it when you find it. And it's not that you can't pursue your truth and pursue wisdom and what's important to you, but this journey is about asking the crowd or asking other people for feedback. You know, sometimes we get into seasons of our life where we feel like we always need to have all of the answers. We need to be a know-it-all. We need to be righteous in our convictions, and we need to declare what we are about and what we believe in. And absolutely, it's important to have your morals and your ethics, but no one person on this planet knows it all. And sometimes we do ourselves such a disservice. For example, let's say you're feeling lost in this season of your life. Rather than asking people around you, hey, what do you think I should do about the situation? You could go out and declare to them, I'm going to go into real estate. I'm going to move neighborhoods. And other people are like, okay. And you didn't open up the space for discourse. This is not me saying that you need to live a life around other people's opinions, but sometimes when you say to a friend like, hey, I'm feeling kind of lost, they say, hey, have you considered this? You know, sometimes the universe drops in little gems that are for us via the people around us. And we do ourselves such a disservice when we feel like, well, I need to know all of the answers and I need to just declare to other people what I'm going to do, rather than dare the vulnerability around asking, hey, what do you think? And this can show up in so many other arenas. If you are a leader, if you are a boss, if you feel like you always need to have all the answers and you always need to broadcast out, we're in this problem, this is how we solve it. With North Node Aquarius in the 3rd house, it can be helpful to ask the crowd, ask people around you, get feedback. If you are a content creator, this can be a really significant time with your content, but it's important to dial into what your followers enjoy from you, what sort of content they enjoy from you. You don't need to cater your page to other people's preferences, but sometimes the feedback that you receive is so telling. It's so illuminating. And it's challenging to be in these seasons of life or in these positions where we feel like we have to know all of the answers. And sometimes that is a pressure that we give ourselves, that we need to know all of the answers, that we need to know exactly what is going on and exactly what we're going to do to fix it. But it is powerful to ask the crowd, to gain knowledge, to gain feedback. You don't need to implement it all, but sometimes there's a gem that one of your followers shares to you that you're like, you might have a point there. There's something that somebody on your team says to you, or some sort of message that you receive around your marketing that you're like, there's something to that. And when we loudly broadcast or declare, this is the direction, this is the vision, this is where I'm going, without gaining that feedback, sometimes we essentially declare something that's not fully resonant or not fully aligned because we have not asked the crowd. And especially if you create things for other people, like really taking in the feedback around who will use your product, who engages with your page, who consumes your content. Like you want to take into account what they think about it. Not overly so. Okay, not overly so. Like at the end of the day, a lot of you are Sagittarius risings. To thine own self be true. You do have Jupiter and Leo throughout a large majority of this transit, and that is around creating and following your heart around what you like to create and what you want to build and what's meaningful to you. I'm not dismissing that. But with North Node Aquarius in the third house, what's the good of having a life source, of having a warmth if it's not to be shared? And there might be feedback that other people offer to you that is very illuminating. Like if you were an artist, if you were creative of some sort, you might have the best song and be like, well, I know exactly how to market this. But like with North Node Aquarius third house, other people's feedback on how to work with algorithms can be exactly what is necessary for that song to pop off. And third house does not necessarily have to do with creative expression, but has a lot to do with the digital technical spaces. So I would definitely say with North Node Aquarius third house, if you are a content creator, if you've been wanting to leverage online spaces and platforms, this is an ideal time to community build. And we don't build community through a God complex or through positioning ourselves as a guru. You might have a lot of wisdom to share, or you could be some sort of teacher, you could be some sort of mentor, and you could have a lot to share, but it's important at this time with North Node Aquarius that it's viewed from a very group collective way. It's not lecturing down to people, it's co-creating with people. And this could be a time to let other people in on your vision around accepting help as it relates to sales, as it relates to marketing, something like this. It's important to be teachable at this time, whether it's to integrate other people's advice, even in arenas outside of digital spaces, or even as it relates to your life. You know, sometimes we get a little cocky. We feel like we know all the answers. We feel like a know-it-all. And with North Node Aquarius, it's important to ask questions and to give yourself permission to learn something. Like no one thing is good at everything. And so this could be a really helpful time to figure out what your deficiencies are and learn about them. Let's say if you own a business, but you aren't into the social media marketing part, like this could be a time around really genuinely getting to learn it, or working with someone, working with a team in order to build marketing in some sort of way can be a focus here. But also just like overall in life, like remaining teachable. A lot of you can learn a new skill. You could learn some sort of technology. Some of you could be building an app of some sort, or you could be understanding how technology can help you or even help other humans, like integrating certain software into your day-to-day. Third house is also neighborhood. And so a lot of you could get more involved with community efforts altogether, volunteering for a local organization, getting more involved with your HOA, like recognizing the power that can come when we work together for a mutual vision. You know, we want to make this neighborhood the best that it can be. This can also be a time of getting closer with a sibling of yours. That can be something that is relevant at this time. A sibling, a cousin. With North Node Aquarius, like really building a friendship there can be a focus here. And even asking yourself if you allow people around you to get close to you. You know, South Node is going into your ninth house, which is around far away places. And I'm talking to a lot of Sagittarians. So sometimes we, book flights rather than feel feelings, right? And it's not that third house or Aquarius is necessarily emotional, but it is around feedback and dialogue and communication. And sometimes just the vulnerability around, I don't know what I'm doing. And rather than asking you for advice, I'm just going to book a flight to Bali and hope it works itself out. That kind of can lead to all sorts of amazing experiences in traveling and whatnot. But sometimes having a heart to heart with someone or opening up to our cousin or a sibling around, yeah, I'm going through this or I'm struggling with this can sometimes be illuminating, even if that amount of contact feels a little uncomfortable or vulnerable sometimes. When we think of third house is also vehicles. It's also short distance travel. So I do see a lot of you are traveling. I mean, Jupiter will also be in ninth house for a long portion of this transit. So I'm not saying that you need to be inside the house all of the time. Like, it does feel like you're going to have staycation opportunities, or you're going to travel a couple towns over, or take a train. I took a train the other day. It was so fun. It was like so peaceful. Like, I had a work job where I could have either driven, and that would have just been like 6 hours of me hating life and being mad at all the drivers on the road. But instead, it was 6 hours of me on the train, looking out the window, looking at the water. It was a surf liner. If you're in California, it's stunning. It's just like beautiful and scenic. And I did my work. Sometimes a change of scenery can be helpful. And so this could be a time that you're falling back in love with your neighborhood by exploring different parts of it, or even having certain like short distance travel in order to shake up the scenery in some sort of way. And third house also vehicles. So some of you could get a new vehicle. And that would be my encouragement, is to stay in motion at this time. Stay asking questions, stay curious, stay learning, sign up for classes, invest in your community, talk to your neighbors, build a friendship with your neighbors. We're more powerful when we work together. Say yes to different opportunities to take certain trips, get in your car and go somewhere, shake up the scenery. Third house, it's not like sixth house around our daily routine, but third house is our immediate surroundings. It's like what's around us. And with the energy of Aquarius, it is around novelty. So there could be an energy around discovering a new hiking trail that's in your neighborhood, or discovering a new coffee shop, or your neighborhood could go through some sort of shift at this time that makes it feel more new in some particular way. And there is an encouragement here to stay moving, stay learning, stay growing, take the classes, connect with the people. If you are Scorpio rising and or you have Aquarius degrees within the fourth house, this is your message. This is your nodal story. And this is what the next 2-ish years of your life are going to be focused around. North Node in Aquarius is moving into your fourth house. South Node in Leo is moving into your 10th house. And thus you are on a journey that's about going from prestige to peace. You are more focused around building a life that feels good on the inside rather than one that looks good on the outside. And how it is that we build a life that feels good is one that feels like your own. You are shedding hollow, empty ambitions. You are shedding internalized projections of what it means to be successful. And you are doing so in an effort to build a life that truly feels like your own. It's fascinating because this transit is happening at the same time that we will have Jupiter in Leo. And so this is not necessarily a time that you are not prioritizing career and public persona. Some of you could be stepping more into the spotlight or allowing more of yourself to be perceived, but you are letting go of who you feel like you've had to be in order to step into who you are. You're letting go of what role you feel like you've had to play in order to step into how you genuinely want to be perceived, because I'm talking a lot of Scorpio placements, and Scorpios sometimes are a little bit more comfortable behind the shadows. And this is a season of your life in which you may be a bit more in the spotlight. But if you're in the spotlight for something that feels not authentic, something that feels not in alignment with your soul, that spotlight is going to burn. It's going to burn on your skin, versus if it's an amplifying of something that's really important to you that you feel like you were put on this planet to do, it's going to uplift you. With North Node Aquarius, there is a massive focus at this time around where is it that I can make a difference for the we. And you may really have to do some soul searching to really tune into what really makes me happy. And beyond just happiness, it's about fulfillment. Fulfillment around I'm at peace with the way that I live my life. I'm at peace with the person that I am, and I'm at peace with my calling, my purpose. If you wake up every single day and you feel like what you're doing makes an impact on other humans, like that is truly wealth. Like that is something to celebrate genuinely, versus doing something that everybody says, you're so good at this, you're so good at this, but it feels hollow and empty. That will cost you so much more than it'll ever pay you. Authenticity and peace is something that we cannot put a price tag on. Like it is priceless. And it's not to say that this nodal story is necessarily about money. I'm not implying that. Like South Node, 10th house, yes, does bring a career and public persona and authority figures. But with North Node Aquarius in the 4th house, it's really asking, what do I want out of life? And where is it that I feel like I'm playing a role at work? I feel like I'm going through the motions around being this manager. I'm going through the motions around this particular position. And what really brings me fulfillment? What really brings me that sensation of peace at the end of the day? Because that is something that some people will go their entire lives chasing. They'll have all of the awards, they'll have all of the fancy accolades, but they'll never feel peaceful to their soul. And while this can be a time of success, absolutely, it's like the true success is building a life where you are at peace. And some of you could walk away from a career path that you've been on in order to prioritize more energy towards the home. Some of you could be renovating a home, you could be buying a home, you could be really investing in your family or your chosen family. North Node Aquarius in the 4th house could really indicate that you recognize that your emotional state hinges upon a feeling of community with those around you, like really investing in your friendships, like recognizing how valuable that is for your overall fulfillment, for your overall joy, and really wanting to prioritize that, as well as wanting to prioritize certain things that may not be visible to the outside world. Again, the Jupiter and Leo at all, there might be certain things that you're putting out there that you're doing that are very visible, but there also could be certain community good that you're focused on this time, or community efforts that you're focused on in this time that are meaningful. So meaningful that you want to keep it sacred at this time. Some of you could be getting more into your ancestry. You could be really wanting to figure out, why am I this way? It can be sometimes like a puzzle, dialing into the different unique parts of ourselves. Maybe you have a unique upbringing, or you are a unique blend of cultures that you are diving into at this time. There could be a focus on that. And you could really find that you're prioritizing your emotions at this time. You're less concerned with being on the rat race around getting to the next win and the next promotion. There could be an energy where it's like, at what cost? Some of you, if you feel like you've been on a treadmill around, okay, maybe after the next accomplishment, this could be a time of recalibration around what makes me happy. Some of you could be really prioritizing soul talks with yourself, like having sacred inner time with yourself in order to figure out who you are. Because with every day, you are building your future. And again, with North Node Aquarius, we are more future-minded. And I don't say that to get existential around what's the future going to look like. But if you've been in a certain loop or certain patterns, recognizing, if I stay on this treadmill, the future is going to be more of this. Like maybe I want to make a shift. Like maybe I want to get off the treadmill. Maybe I want to make a shift that might not be popular. Other people might look at you and be like, what? You worked so hard to be partner and you're stepping off now? Or what? You worked so hard in this part of your career and you want to go with this weird niche project now? And it's like, yeah, I don't want more of this. If I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm going to keep getting what I've been getting. And what I've been getting is dissatisfaction or unhappiness. And this is a time that you're prioritizing your happiness, you're prioritizing your peace, which, like I said, not one person can put a price tag on. Some of you could be really working on befriending your family. Like maybe there's been icy periods, or there's been some distance or detachment. This can be a time around really wanting to build the friendships with your family, or again, investing in your chosen family. Some of you could really have some deep introspection at this time around if you want to have a family yourself. And maybe you are going in a direction that is more avant-garde or more unusual than people around you. Maybe you want to have all the children. Maybe you want to adopt. You want to foster children. You want to have a ton of children. You're surrounded by people who are more focused on their corporate careers. Maybe you don't want to have children and you come from a lineage where a lot of people found their identity through that process. Like you are recognizing that only you can give you what you really want out of life. And if you've been living a life for it to look good in Instagram photos or for it to look appealing to the outer perspective, it's recognizing it's not worth it if it feels empty and hollow on the inside. And it feels so much more gratifying to build what you truly want to build and prioritize what you truly want to prioritize and fulfill the goals that have intrinsic value to you. You also could just feel the emotional payoff that comes from making a difference in other people's lives. Some of you could find how gratifying it is to volunteer or be a part of a Big Brothers Big Sisters program or something like this, like feeling how inwardly satisfying it is to make a difference or to help humanity. You know, if what the collective is going through impacts you to a deep emotional level, I don't blame you. I completely understand it. But with the energy of North Node Aquarius, it's like, what's one thing that I can do to help? Because, you know, I'm talking a lot of Scorpio risings, and sometimes Scorpio energy can spiral and get very existential around what's the point of everything? It's all doom. And when we are doing constructive good, like that is a ripple effect, and it helps us to feel like we are making a difference when we see the ways that our small efforts continue to ripple out. And that is what's necessary at this time. No one's saying you have to fix it all yourself, but this can be a time around recognizing how emotionally satisfying it is to make a difference, to do something good, even if it's just picking up trash around your neighborhood or mentoring somebody or taking care of a family member can also be really powerful here with North Node Aquarius in the 4th house. Every little bit of good helps. This is what North Node in Aquarius is all about if you are a Libra rising or you have some Aquarius degrees within your 5th house. This is a journey about going from popularity to play. So let's unpack this. As South Node moves into your 11th house, this is about groups, audiences, community, people. Yet North Node is in the sign Aquarius, which is very much around community and public efforts and public good. So it's not about creating in a vacuum or creating in isolation. There is a major focus on people, but this transit is bringing to the surface your why around the people that you are surrounded by. Because what South Node and Leo in the 11th house is going to do is it is going to reveal which friendships of yours are really built around convenience, or which friendships of yours you have been overly loyal to, or what sense of belonging you need to have with certain groups, with certain people in order to feel like you have any value altogether. This is a time that you are wholeheartedly uninterested in being part of the in crowd, just to be part of the in crowd, or part of a certain group, a certain community. Like this is a time in which you're really seeing through it around, I don't need to participate in the politics of my industry. I don't need to participate with these friendship dynamics if it's not working for me. Like I don't need to be popular or well liked by everybody in order to create a meaningful, fun life. I'm talking to a lot of Libra rising. So naturally you are more other-oriented, other-centric. Also, throughout this transit, Jupiter will be expanding your 11th house. So this is not a time that's around isolation, but it is around releasing friendships that are out of convenience, releasing group dynamics that are competitive, releasing a feeling within that you need to be accepted by others altogether. And what's so funny is that you letting go of that need for belonging, that need to be in the in crowd, that need to be liked, that need to be popular, is when you are the most magnetic. Like all sorts of people could be wanting to be your friend at this time because you are more detached about it and you're not just wanting to have friends for friends' sake. Like if there are any friends within your life where it's like, well, I was in their wedding, or well, who will I take Instagram photos with, or this particular social event will be so awkward if I'm not with my people. It's like you're just not interested in things that are phony at this time. And it's not that it necessarily needs to show up in like these dramatic friendship breakups and these major social rifts. I mean, maybe for some of you, but you could just be less interested. Your heart's not in it anymore to perform friendship when it doesn't feel phony. Like you are much more concerned around doing what you want, really, having fun. And like I said, this is making you more magnetic. Like when you are expressing yourself, when you are doing the things that are fun for you, when you are around people that are interesting to you, like that's when you are the most lit up at this time. And I'm telling you, you are stepping into your magnetism in a big way. away because you're not performing, because you're not feeling this pressure for belonging. It's like you are detached to it, yet all of these people, contacts, groups may want to befriend you, may want you to be a part of their organization, their club or friendship group. And you're being choosy, as you should be, around where you genuinely want to spend your time because you're wanting to have fun. Truly, when we talk about fifth house, where North Node is, this is the sector of dating. This is the sector of romance. This is a sector of fun and partying. So it's not saying that you're wiping everything off your social calendar and refusing to be out in the world. Like, you're outside. You've got North Node and Aquarius and fifth house. You're having fun, but you don't want things that are phony. You don't want to be in environments where people are pretending to be people that they're not in order to impress people that they don't really like. Like, you're going to see through a lot of dynamics around, what am I doing here? Why am I performing friendship? Why am I pretending like I want to be around these people? Some people could be revealed at this time if they are social climbers, if they are siphoning from you your validation, or they like that you're friends with them because it boosts their social status, something like this. You could just see through it and be uninterested. And 11th house also speaks to our audiences, whether that's your following. And this might be a time that you're really doing what you want. Like with North Node Aquarius in the fifth house, you could be creating content that's a little weird, that's a little avant-garde, that's a little unconventional, but you're really in this energy around wanting to be true to yourself and create works that are true to you as well. And with those life shifts, if that is the story for you, there could be this energy where you don't just want to be part of a mom group and do what everybody else is doing. Like with North Node Aquarius in the fifth house, you could be like, I'm going to raise my children in the way that's right for me, even if it's a little unusual, even if it's a little unconventional from other people's perspective. Maybe you're dating in a way that is unusual or a little unpredictable. It is your life. And I think a lot of you are really protecting the things in your life that bring you joy. You know, when we talk about fifth house, it's things that are very close to the heart. I mean, it's about romance, it's about children, it's around creative expression. And there's just an energy where it's like, I don't need it to be understood by you, but I need it to feel good from me. A lot of you are prioritizing pleasure more so. You could be doing what you want to do, going to more live music shows. You could be creating more art. You could be saying yes to life. And in those spaces, you could be connecting with others. Like I said, it's not your isolation era. It's just you're not wanting to perform social dynamics. You're wanting to be around people that are lit up by the same things as you. You're wanting to be in environments of unusual, eclectic people that light you up. And you're wanting to build a life around what lights you up. And there is a recalibration as it relates to your visions for the future. You know, if some of you are rather competitive, or you felt like you had to compete with the mom groups or with the in crowd or with the workplace politics, it's just a time that you're uninterested and you're recognizing, is this really what I wanted? Like maybe I thought that being accepted by this group of people, then I would finally feel worthy. Maybe I thought that if I got to this particular position at work, then I would finally feel accepted by my colleagues. But right now you're mostly concerned around accepting yourself. And maybe recognizing how there were certain goals of yours that were hollow, or when you got there, it's like, this isn't really what I wanted it to be. There's nothing here. You know, that ego payoff I thought I was going to get is not here. And I'm wanting to focus on things that feel good now. In some of you, your creativity could be a form of activism at this time. You could be taking a creative talent of yours or creation of yours. Like fifth house is creation altogether. So if you were an entrepreneur, you could be creating something to change the world, or creating something that's very innovative in order to build the future that you see and that you believe in. If you are a Virgo rising or you have Aquarius degrees within the sixth house, that means that North Node Aquarius, South Node in Leo will impact your 6th and 12th house axis. And this is exactly what you can expect from this about 2-year period. You are moving from fantasy to function, as the South Node will move through your 12th house, which is a really wonderful opportunity to vacuum away any subconscious stories that are not serving you. And especially around how you view yourself, your own self-concept. And when we talk about 12th house, it's what's deep, deep down. And this could be a really powerful time to really look at how you view yourself and how that keeps you from going after what you really want within this world for yourself and for humanity at large. This is a time to let go of certain thoughts around what's the use if I even try, or what's someone like me gonna do to change the world, or someone like me couldn't possibly have that within their reality. You won't know that until you try. And sometimes there is a certain safety that fantasy offers us. You know, when we think about 12th house where South Node is, this is a sector that has to do with places that are tucked away and hidden away. Places like prisons, places like mental institutions. I am not saying that you will be headed to either of those locations. There is a certain comfort. Again, I'm not implying that these places are comfortable, but there is a certain amount of comfort that being in an enclosed space offers to us. Even if the enclosed space is hellish, we know what to expect there. We can keep ourselves safe there. And you may be in a prison of your own making around how it is that you view yourself, or even certain visions that you have, creative ideas that you have chosen to lock away because they're safe there. You know, it would be so gratifying to actualize those visions, but what if you try it and you flop and you fail? Oh, no. It's better to not try. It's better to have that locked away. You know, sometimes we have certain visions of ourselves around, oh, I would love to get better at piano, or I would love to have this sort of position within my day-to-day, but we keep it locked away. We keep it trapped. We keep it hidden. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to find out. Because then we can keep it safe. Because what if we try to play piano and we're not good at it? What if we try to do this for work and it flops? You will not know until you try. And when it comes to 6th house, this is about function. As I mentioned, this is about service. This is about doing the thing. You can get good at piano if you practice. You can do this for work if you work at it every single day. You know, the secret sauce is consistency, genuinely, at this time. And I'm talking to a lot of Virgos, so I know that you know this, but I truly believe that if you stick with anything long enough, you will improve. You will get better at it. So it's recognizing, where am I self-sabotaging myself by not even giving myself the opportunity to find out all that I could be, all that I can excavate and chisel of my own talents and gifts. And my leadership ability. You know, as I mentioned earlier, it's not about abandoning the South Node. It's about bringing it into the North Node. And so with South Node Leo, it's not about dimming your own light or dimming your own leadership. It's recognizing how your leadership can make an impact, but this is lived leadership. When we think about North Node and Aquarius in the 6th house, this is not a boss or a manager who is locked away and gives instructions from distance. It's someone who's on the ground floor, working and building right along with you. And it's also recognizing that sometimes for us to make a difference, we have to acknowledge our own specialness, which, to be quite honest with you, you may not recognize. You know, whether we think that we are a flop and we are the worst thing to ever exist on this planet, or whether we think that we are a god on this planet, both are a very egotistical, self-centered orientation of the world. And when it comes to having Leo in your 12th house like you do, sometimes there's such a fear around being seen as, oh, they think they're all that. Oh, they think they're so great. And, you know, having Leo in the 12th house signals that you could have some deep fears around people looking at you and thinking, oh, they think they're all that. You know, a lot of you are Virgo rising. So you strive to be helpful. You strive to allow your actions and your work to do the talking for you, sometimes to your own detriment. Like some of you are keeping yourself safe in a prison of your own humility, which again, it can be a valuable thing to be humble, but not if you are not giving yourself the opportunity to launch the thing, to create the thing, to do the thing, because you don't want to be seen as extra. Or they think they're so this, or they think they're so that. Sometimes we do the world a disservice when we keep our own talents and our own abilities hidden away. Like, I genuinely feel like a lot of you with North Node, Aquarius in the 6th house, you're being asked to work on something, you're being asked to build something at this time that could impact many people's lives. And sometimes that requires you to have a vision, that requires you to step into your leadership ability. And you are being tasked at this time to let go of anything that's dimming your light, whether it's your own self-doubt, your own limiting stories, the own way that you view yourself. And with North Node Aquarius in the 6th house, it's knowing that if this can make a difference in somebody else's life, then it is worth my time. It is worth my energy. It's worth my diligence. Because let's be real about 6th house. This is not an easy house. This is a time in which you are being tasked to build something for humanity, for people. You could be putting energy towards building a team. If you are an entrepreneur or something like this, you could be hiring more concerned around the company energy, the teamwork, the camaraderie. It might be easier, quote unquote, to do it all yourself and to be isolated from the world altogether and to be overwhelmed via that isolation and to be locked into prison of your overwhelming schedule or workload or how much is on you. But this is a time in which you are being asked to build something with people and knowing that that does require release of control. Something that a lot of Virgo risings have a hard time releasing. But there could be all sorts of people who help you build a certain vision. I feel like some of you are doing a startup, you have an app, you have some sort of work project that you are building and tapping into different brains, different people, or you could just be building something for the purpose of helping others. And 6th house is not 10th house. It's not career. It's not reputation. It's not recognition to a very public way. It's getting in the weeds. It's doing the work. And so this can be a time in which you are really working to build your vision. And that's gratifying when you genuinely feel like you are working on something that could change the world. Like, that should make you excited every single day to get up and get to it, knowing that your work can change people's lives, no matter how small or how big of a spectrum that shows up. This can be a time that you are very focused on the logistics, on your processes, on your procedures, on your routines. This could be a time that you're very focused on your health. You could be signing up for fitness classes or being part of a gym where you are empowered and inspired by the people that you are around. Like, that could be a source of motivation for you to keep showing up, to keep chiseling. Again, not everybody necessarily is building an app or things like this. You just could be really working on your health and being inspired by the people around you, or even being part of a group or a community who have similar health goals to you or have similar symptoms that they are also mitigating. Something like this can be an emphasis here. I want to mention that this can be a time that you do get employment, you do get a job. It might be something different with the energy of Aquarius, or it could be something that is very groundbreaking, that is very innovative. It can be a very busy time of your life. And you are being asked to put things to function, to see if things work. Again, it cannot get lost in the sauce of the ethers at this time. And especially since this is coinciding with us having Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Aries is around doing the thing. You can try to plan perfectly, but you still will not know everything until you do it. There will still be things that catch you by surprise, which I know is like a Virgo rising's nightmare. Right? But you have to do the thing and also recognize where it is that you're keeping yourself safe by keeping yourself hidden, where you're keeping yourself safe by keeping your ideas, your desires, your creative expression hidden, where you're keeping yourself safe by keeping something in the ethers and not doing anything about it. And that can also relate to humanity at large, like an energy around, who am I to think I could change the world? Or who am I to organize this litter cleanup or to put this petition out there? Who are you not to? Like, somebody's got to do it. Why can it not be you? And a lot of the work that's necessary is not always so glamorous. Like, when it comes to 6th house, it's not the most glamorous house. Let's be real about it, but it's necessary. We tend to think, oh, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will do it. Somebody else will do it. And this is the time to be like, I'll do it. And I'll find like-minded people. I'll unite with my community. I'll unite with my team. I'll unite with my coworkers is also a 6th house theme. Some of you can befriend your coworkers at this time, and there can be a focus on this. I mean, granted, Pluto is also transiting this house likely for a lot of you. So there might be certain power dynamics at play, but it's staying very focused on the collective good or the vision at the end and letting that motivate you and guide your efforts forward. This forecast is for you if you are a Leo ascendant or you have Aquarius degrees in the 7th house, Leo degrees within the 1st house. This indicates that these upcoming eclipses are going to be a big deal. These are eclipses landing in angular houses. For a lot of you, you have South Node in your sign. This is a time of evolution. This is a time of transformation. And you are going from self-focus to synergy. That is the focus here. Because with North Node in Aquarius moving through your 7th house of connections, relationships, and partnerships, this is a time that fated partnerships are being dropped into your orbit. And it's very important to approach these relationships, these connections, recognizing that it's not just about the me, it's about the we. What it is that we create together, how it is that we build together, the visions that we are focused on together. Because with South Node in Leo in your 1st house, you are releasing an outdated version of self. For some of you, you are letting go of the version of self where you felt like you had to be extraordinary in order to be lovable. You had to be a star in order to feel worthy. You had to be loved and adored in order to have value. You know, when it comes to the shadow side of Leo energy, there can sometimes be these themes of performance. And sometimes if we felt ignored when we were younger, we feel like we need the validation of being on stage, of having applause, of getting A's, however it morphed and showed up in order to get that attention of what we're really after, of what we're really craving. And it's interesting because this transit coincides with also having Jupiter in your sign. So it is a massive time for luck and blessings and expansion of self. But in order to receive the next era of your life, you have to let go of the prior one and also the version of self that was attached to that life. And also recognizing where some of the Leo rising themes, Leo in the 1st house themes, have grown in order to cope, in a sense, around if I am adored by everybody, then I'll be loved by my parents. Or if I am applauded on stage, that means that I am worthy. Like, it's important to recognize, like, yes, I have these amazing Leo abilities. I'm a great storyteller. I love to be on camera. I love to create. I love to cheerlead and warm the lives of others. Like, you can appreciate all of the beautiful qualities of having Leo in the 1st house, being a Leo rising, while also recognizing some of the qualities that you're ready to release around, I don't need to be adored by everybody, validated by everybody. I just need to be seen by the right ones. I don't need to be extraordinary in order to be loved. Me just being myself is already being extraordinary. I don't need to achieve and perform in order to get that adoration that I've been looking for, that praise that I've been looking for. I'm already worthy. And so it's even letting go of any version of you that felt like you had to perform for others and perform in order to be received in a certain way. And some of you are letting go of the you who felt like their sense of self was attached to other people's perceptions of you, or even choosing certain relationships in order to get validation. And so for a lot of you, you are releasing versions of self, and you're also letting go of a version of self who felt like it all needed to be about you in some particular way, feeling like if you were not the star in every room that you stepped in, if you were not center stage, then you were nothing. Like with North Node Aquarius, there is a focus on others at this time and how it is that they can amplify your sparkle, amplify your glow. You know, Jupiter's in the 1st house. I'm not saying to put baby in a corner, to hide you away. How dare anybody do that to somebody who has Leo in the 1st house. That's not what I'm implying, but it's recognizing I don't need to perform. I don't need validation in order to feel worthy. I don't need to be on stage. I don't need to be seen by the masses, and I'm releasing the version of self who felt like they had to be. And sometimes that keeps people at a distance. Like I was saying earlier, when you're on stage, you're not sitting with everybody else. When you're in front of cameras, you are talking to the masses, yes, but at a distance. And so this can be a time that you are more focused around building with people and connecting with people, where it's not just about you, it's about the us. It's not just about being seen, it's about seeing others. And what's interesting is I do feel like your ability to see others and build with others is actually leading to success at this time, with Jupiter also in the first house, where if you are some sort of counselor, you work with others, or you're an entrepreneur and you are building with others, partnering with others, that could amplify both of your glow. And so it's important to not feel like you have to do it all on your own right now, or be extraordinarily better than everybody else, or be the star of every project. Sometimes there is power that comes from a power team linking up, or a power couple linking up, listen. And this can be a time that partnership finds you in whichever way. Some of you could get married, or you could find a long-term partner. And what's important at this time is that your vision for the future is in alignment, because that's what Aquarius is about. It's what do you want out of life? What do you foresee out of your life? And ensuring that there is alignment there, that you guys want the same things. Some of you could have a friends to lovers arc with North Node Aquarius in the 7th house. Or if you are already married, this can be a time that you are able to achieve more when you view it around what can we build? What can we create? And letting go of a version of self where you felt like you always had to be independent, or you always had to do it all on your own. Sometimes we're even more powerful when we join forces, when we link up with others, especially in certain arenas where you have certain deficiencies, as we all do. Why would I stress myself out worrying about the marketing of this business when my business partner has background in that? Or why would I worry about the cooking within my relationship when my partner is a great cook? Like, being able to build and have that teamwork energy is a focus here, as well as asking, what do people need? How can I make a difference? Like, that is going to bring you lots of success at this period, like solving people's problems, or being very other person oriented around, how can I make people feel more seen? How can I make people feel part of something? You know, you're very magnetic. People want to be around you. There's like a warmth that exudes from you. And with North Node Aquarius in the 7th house, you can have success around building offerings or places where people can be part of your community, where they can feel close to you in a way that you feel comfortable with, of course. But some of the relationships and contacts that come into your life can really change your life and the trajectory of your life. You could be surprised. I just wrapped up this transit, and when I say the universe like over-delivered the amount of amazing people that were just dropped into my reality, like, get ready. And I wouldn't have been in a space to build relationships and connections with those people if I didn't have room for them. You know, when we think about South Node in 1st house and letting go with the prior version of self, sometimes it's letting go of the version of you who first started your business, who felt like you had to do it all on your own. Sometimes it's letting go of the version of you who is hyper independent and feels like it's dangerous to let somebody in. Sometimes it's letting go of some things in your life so that you have space to call in a partner. You know, it's like if you're calling in a life partner, it's like getting ready for them in a sense, or like clearing out the nightstand next to you so you're ready for this person to come in. Like, in order to receive, we have to have space for it. And this could be a priority of yours, or something that is brought up at this time. And receiving what people have to give you, like allowing yourself to receive from others, whether it's ideas, whether it's support, whether it's assistance. You know, like I said, so many amazing humans were plopped into my reality during this transit, the one that you're going to step into. And so it's important for you to say yes. This is a time to prioritize networking. This is a time to prioritize community building. This is a time to prioritize synergy and recognizing it's bigger than just me. You know, maybe you're at a space in life where you've gotten the accolades, you've gotten certain accomplishments, and you could be at this energy around now what? You know, I won't lie to you. Sometimes having South Node in your sign, if you are a Leo, is very confusing because you're letting go of a prior version of self. You don't recognize yourself because your life is turning into something else. But this can be a time that's so powerful and so fulfilling to build things that make a difference in others, and seeing how as you help others, they support you as well. That synergy, that symbiosis around building something together, being able to share your gifts and your talents with the world and how much they feed back to you as well. But you have to be open for these people contacts and contracts to come in. Because I do want to say that 7th house is contract. So some of you could sign to management. There could be certain people who are dropped into your world who do help your aims all together within this world. Like the universe could be answering certain prayers of yours via people that drop in. And so it's important to be open to that. Let go of a version of self who feels like you always need to be righteous or that you always need to know exactly what you can do, and be open to other people's advice, other people's guidance, other people's expertise. That's how you're going to shine even brighter during this transit. If you are a Cancer rising, what the moon and its nodes are doing are of the utmost importance for you. So it's a big deal that North Node is moving into Aquarius, South Node is moving into Leo. So let's get into your forecast for this transit if you are a Cancer rising and or you have Aquarius degrees within your 8th house, Leo degrees within your 2nd house. My love, you are on a journey that is shifting from accumulation to alchemy is the best way to say it. Because with South Node in Leo in the 2nd house, you are moving into a story that you are so not interested in participating in flex culture. You are so uninterested in acquiring possessions just to prove something or signal something about yourself to others. You may see the rat race for what it is, looking at people purchasing designer or flexing their possessions as though that somehow makes them better than other people. This is a time that you're so not interested in material possessions, and furthermore, with it in Leo, what it signals about self. And you're really seeing through individuals who are very superficial in that way. You know, some people are so poor that all they have is money. And all that they feel like makes them interesting or all that is meaningful to them is the pursuit of more and more money and the protecting the money that they already have and flexing the money. And this just might be a time that you are seeing through it. So you're already deep to begin with. But with North Node Aquarius in the 8th house, you are interested in doing deep inner work at this time. You could be doing shadow work. And 8th house is a financial house. And obviously we live in a physical reality. We need money to survive. Some of you are coming into money or making more money with Jupiter and Leo also shifting into this house. It's just not your focus to make money just to spend it again or to purchase things in order to be seen in another way. It's like seeing money for what it is and being more interested around why you came here. You know, when it's time for us to go, we cannot take stuff with us. We cannot take possessions with us. So if you've been in a financial treadmill of sorts around just trying to earn more and feeling your life pass you by, this could be a transit that gets your attention around, whoa, my life is going by. Am I living it the way that I want to? Thus being able to depart this planet in the way that I want to. Not to get so morbid and existential, but 8th house is the house of death. And so it's not saying that literally that will be something that you're experiencing at this time, but it could be something that you are aware of. You know, when we think about Aquarius, we think about the future. So you could be really thinking about your children's children or the generations to come and really questioning your impact, your legacy, what remains when you are no longer here. Because stuff rots and people who say this is the trend and go out and buy that, it gets out of style by the next year. You know, like we look at consumerist trends like Labubus or Beanie Babies, and it's like, it's just stuff. And granted, stuff and possessions sometimes can give people a lot of pleasure. It can be a way of connecting with their inner child. It could be a source of joy. Absolutely. That's not me talking down to it. But at a certain point, you look at your home or you look what's in your closet, or if you are helping someone in your life prepare for end of life, or you're having to go through somebody else's stuff and they have departed the planet, you realize that we really accumulate so much stuff and you could be so not interested in just acquiring more. You could be more interested in less, more space to ponder, to reflect, to dive deep. Some of you could have some really deep, intimate friendships at this time. Like 8th house is how we merge with others, how we share with others. And so you could be really interested in friendships where you're able to go deep. You could even be connecting with different people around psychological topics or around occult topics, craving community in that way, and not interested in spending time with people who just want to brag about their possessions. And there can be a bit of a shift there if you have been around people where it's like, oh, we all work in the same industry. You know, some of you could be walking away from a stream of income, and yet other income streams can be made available to you at this time. You know, when we think of eighth house, we think of things like royalties, we think of things like commissions, we think of things like child support, alimony, your spouse getting a raise. It's money that finds you in different sort of ways. And so you might be less interested around clocking in, clocking out, and more so building for the long term, whether that's investing or building a business, building a team, having shares in an existing team where it's like, it will mature eventually, or I'll reap the benefits from it eventually in the future. And it's playing the long game. Because with South Node, second house, you might be spending less. And it also could be a time that you are planning for your estate, or you're handling certain matters around your estate and handling certain trusts, certain financial planning around end of life services, or something like this can be a focal point at this time. But even if it's not, it just tends to be a time in which the universe shows up for you in very unusual, serendipitous ways. Money and support can find you in unusual and serendipitous ways. And so it's important to receive and accept support from those around you. You know, sometimes we don't want to ask for help because of pride, right? With South Node Leo around, I don't want to ask because that's embarrassing. And even if you know it's for a greater good, like some of you could be fundraising for a certain cause or something like this, you can still feel uncomfortable because it's like, I am either used to making my own money, or I feel like making my own money is a source of pride for me, or I've been through seasons of my life where I attached my confidence to my ability to provide for myself. Asking for help does not make you weak. And this is not just financially, it's receiving support in any particular way and accepting it and knowing that it does not mean anything about you. Like, just because you can do it on your own doesn't mean that you need to. And there might be certain things, like if it's like alimony, child support, it's like I can provide for my child, and it's like you absolutely may be able to, but they still have a responsibility to contribute to your child and to your child's future. That's just one example. Like sometimes we block how sports finds us because we limit feeling like it only needs to come through one source. And it could come through unusual sources with North Node Aquarius, like unusual money could show up for you, unusual payouts of some sort. And so it's important to receive it and not feel like, no, it can only come through from my efforts. You also could be in a space where you are shifting. If you do have a business and you do a lot of like one-on-one, or you provide a certain service, or you make something where the finances are more cut and dry. I do this service, I get paid this much. I sell this item, I receive this much money. You may be shifting in order to shift more so towards retainers, or you could shift more so towards memberships, like things that are a little bit more risky. Like when we talk about eighth house, we do talk about that, but could provide more reward and are not explicitly tied to your time and your energy and your labor. When we think of Aquarius, it's very of the future. It's very futuristic. It's very innovative. So you could innovate how you've done things up to this point. But all in all, this is a time of alchemy. This is a time of transformation, of evolution, of surrender. When we think of eighth house, it's things that cannot be controlled. And yes, with North Node Aquarius, we are having our eye on the future, but there's also an awareness that we cannot control it, that we can have all our ducks in a row, we can plan something as so, and there still will be things that catch us by surprise. It's part of the way that the universe teaches us, and Aquarius is a sign that tends to catch us by surprise. And so you may find at this time you're having to actually release or surrender an attachment to the future, exactly how it's going to look like, in order to trust that you are provided for, that you are supported every moment. You could be very interested in merging with other individuals. There could be a major focus on intimacy, whether that's related to your marriage, whether that's related to certain friendships. There could be a major focus around shadow work, occult. You could be in therapy or doing certain psychological work on yourself in order to understand why you are the way you are and who you want to be moving forward. You know, this could be a time that you are really striving to empower yourself. Yes, there's things that we cannot control, but really wanting to transform into your most powerful version in order to arise to the big visions and dreams that it feels like you have. This reading is for you if you are a Gemini rising or you have Aquarius degrees in the 9th house, Leo degrees in the 3rd house. This is what you can expect from North Node's transit through Aquarius, South Node's transit through Leo from July 2026 until March 2028. You are on a journey from information to insight. It's the best way to say it because South Node in Leo is in your 3rd house, which is around communication. It's around social media, and it's a very noisy house. Let's say that because 3rd house is the peanut gallery. 3rd house is everybody giving their 2 cents on what we should do in a certain situation. And you're moving into a season of life that you're really not so interested in wanting to hear it, especially if they don't get it. You know, with North Node Aquarius, you're focused on your vision, you're focused on your future, you're focused on your why. And not everybody's going to get it. You cannot base your life decisions on what Marsha down the street thinks about it. And you especially cannot do what other people want you to do as a way to secure validation or attention from them. That's relevant with South Node being in Leo. Maybe you've had an issue in the past around people pleasing or feeling bad if you don't take someone's advice or doing certain things because you know that so-and-so will approve. And it can be uncomfortable carving our authentic path. In fact, it's like one of the most risky, uncomfortable things we do is choosing our own path. It's a lot easier to go the path that's expected of us. Naturally, that is what a lot of people do because to carve your own path, to be the rebel of your reality, it takes owning your inner outcast. It takes marching to the beat of your own drum. It takes not listening to what people say. They'll get it in time. You know, with North Node Aquarius, Aquarius is the sign of the future. Aquarius is the sign where when they like something, everybody else thinks it's weird. And then that's what trends, that's what's popular in years to come. They're tapped into the future. And so certain people who have changed the world, started businesses that have changed the world. At first, I'm sure people were like, you're crazy, this is bizarre. And then they saw it with time. And you yourself could be on a precipice like that. This is not explicitly related to business, but you are building a life that is authentic, even if other people do not get it right away. I'm seeing within my mind's eye when I quit my 9-to-5 and everybody was like, what are you doing? Oh, astrology? Even people who want the best for you, you know, they need proof of concept. And a lot of times it's just not available at first. It's like, I don't know, there's just something for me here. And when we think about 9th house, we think about faith and meaning. So you could be carving a path that has a lot of meaning for you. And other people may not get it. You have faith that it's going to work out. You have optimism on the path that you are chiseling. And the rewards of that or the validation around everybody applauding may not come for some time. And that's okay. So long as it feels like your path, so long as it feels authentic to you, that it's going to be a solitary path. Aquarius is around community. And with 9th house being around spirituality, a lot of you could be really putting energy towards being in rooms where people are having big conversations, talking about things that mean something to you. You could join an astrology club. You could go back to school. You could get your master's. You could want to be in environments of people having really big, meaningful conversations. And you're more lit up by that rather than people talking about, oh, did you hear what Marsha did? And did you hear about so-and-so? You're less interested in small ideas and small gossip. It's just not interesting you. And you're especially not interested in people's 2 cents as it relates to you and how it is that you choose to live your life. Because with North Node 9th house, you're wanting to expand at this time. You're wanting to explore at this time. A lot of you could be traveling at this time, whether it's short distance travels. Jupiter will also be in your 3rd house for a majority of this transit, or going abroad with North Node in the 9th house. You could be really wanting to invest in not just knowledge. Like, yes, North Node is in a fellow air sign, and a lot of you are Gemini rising, so you're very curious. Like, regardless, you're going to learn anywhere you go. It's not just knowledge, though. Like, when we think about 9th house, it's wisdom. And that's what you're chiseling. That's what you're after, is the pursuit of wisdom. Even if that's weird. Some of you could go to school for a very niche, random topic, like a very Aquarius coded, or you could get your PhD in science, even if everybody else is like, oh no, if you just take your master's, you could get this particular position and be making this much. It's like, they don't get it. They don't have your soul. They don't have your sense of meaning. They don't have your real calling. Like, when we think about 9th house, it's very much like our dharma. And with North Node Aquarius, you could want to change the world. You could be pursuing higher education in an industry that other people don't exactly get, but it's because you can see how it can help people. Or maybe you're studying astrology more, you're getting more into tarot because you recognize how that can be a vehicle in order to help others. You could be pursuing things and doing things that other people don't get, and they don't need to. Again, other people can only meet us in the depths of which they've met themselves. And other people can only understand us in the depths that they've understood themselves. And some people are not as intrigued by the 9th house arenas of life, the big dreams, the big calling. Some people, and this is no shade whatsoever, some people like are genuinely satisfied by the conventional path. They don't have to wonder what comes beyond. They don't have to wonder, what is it that I believe in, because they're satisfied. But this could be a time that you are feeling this calling and this awakening to put the pieces together around this fabric of existence, around, why am I here? What's the point of it all? And really following your own morals, your own ethics. This can be a time that you are speaking out about what's important to you in order to create change. Some of you could publish a book of some sort. You could mentor others. You could step into a role of a teacher. Some of you are shifting from a mindset of the student to a teacher, knowing that you are always learning, right? It's no longer just around receiving information. It's around sharing it. And stepping into that, and you might be uncomfortable, like maybe a comfort zone is like, oh, I'll just get another certification, or I'll just study this topic a little bit more. But there comes to be a point in time when it's time to teach what you've learned. It's time to integrate your learnings. It's time to step into the role of a mentor. It's time to step into a role of a teacher, still investing in your learning journey, absolutely, but knowing that it's time. And if you've been keeping yourself in the student mentality, thinking, well, I don't know everything yet. Firstly, nobody does. And secondly, you can create a lot of ahas for people. You can create a lot of revelations for people. You can create a lot of light bulb moments for people. Even if you do not know it all, you don't need to know everything. You just need to be a couple steps ahead of other individuals. And so this might be a journey in which you're ready to start sharing what you've learned. You're ready to start mentoring. You're ready to start teaching, even if that's a little scary. You know, when we talk about North Node, a lot of times it is us being launched out of our comfort zone, and that could be something that you are doing at this time. If you are a Taurus rising, that means that the upcoming eclipses are going to activate the territory of your chart governing fame, career, public persona, legacy. That also means the eclipses will impact the territory of your chart of home, family, emotional state. So let's unpack this. I do want to add that even if you are not a Taurus rising, but you have Aquarius degrees in the 10th house and Leo degrees in the 4th house, this reading will apply for you. You are stepping into a nodal story with North Node and Aquarius that is thrusting you into the limelight. Little bit ready or not type energy. You are going from privacy to purpose. Because when we talk about 4th house, where South Node is moving in, South Node being a point of decrease, 4th house is home. 4th house is the most sacred territory of the chart. It is the most private territory of the chart. It is the roots of the chart. It governs ancestry. It governs family. We'll dig into that fully, but I want to firstly highlight that it's private. It's the most private arena of the chart. And South Node, as I stated, is a point of decrease. So this could be a time that you are releasing certain elements of privacy in order to embody or step into a higher purpose. You know, there comes a point in time when we have to get out of our own way, and we have to recognize that us stepping into what we are here to do will sometimes require us to be perceived in one way or another. This is not to say all of you need to become celebrities and socialites and major fixtures in the media or anything like this, but it is saying there might be certain elements of your own privacy that you are sacrificing at this time. For example, some of you could get some sort of promotion at work that requires you to be a bit more visible. It requires you to be a bit more out there. Some of you could level up in career so much so that you just have less time to be at home. So it's like less time being inside because you're out in the world. You're having to network, you're having to advocate, whatever it is that you're having to do that. And so there could be certain elements of your private life and the safety that we can feel in that you are not as able to prioritize at this time. Keep in mind, of course, I'm not saying you have to reveal anything you're not comfortable with. I'm not saying you have to become famous, but there comes a point in time for us to fulfill our legacy that we need to show up for it. And you may be launched into leadership at this time. And what's going to make it worth it is staying very focused on the purpose of it all with the energy of Aquarius, the calling that you are arriving for, the people whose lives you want to impact. Like that is Aquarius energy. It's community, it's groups, it is teams all together. And that could be something that you are very focused on, where there might be certain elements of your private life that are taking a bit of a backseat at this time, but it feels worth it to you because of the impact that you are having. Some of you could step into a new career path of some sort, and that may or may not require you to move. You know, South Node in the fourth house can be you letting go of a certain property, can be letting go of a certain living environment. This is co-signed by Jupiter also moving through this territory throughout this transit. So a lot of you could move residences, or you could let go of a certain property in order to be closer to where your career will thrive and flourish. And yes, 10th house is around leadership, but it's staying very team oriented, like staying very focused around what am I building and who am I building it with. If you are a manager, it's staying very focused on the team environment, the company culture is going to be significant, as well as how you can make a difference, how you can make the environment different than the way that you found it altogether. You know, some of you, not all, okay, but some of you might have some issues with authority, being that you have a very rebellious sign, at least somewhat in your 10th house of authority figures. So it could be hard for you to do what other people tell you to do. And sometimes that's a clue for us. Like sometimes we know we were meant for a leadership role or an entrepreneurial role because we just don't do well following directions. Like sometimes you have to create a way forward that fits for you. Right? And certainly your talents and your abilities and your personality traits, yes, but sometimes your deficiencies around, it's just not going to work for me to be told what to do, or it's just not going to work for me to feel like I need to abide by this archaic company culture that I'm involved in. You know, Pluto is moving through your 10th house. So some of you might be in a role where you are shaking things up. Maybe you have a certain boss where you are bringing them into the future, whether they like it or not. It's like it's time to do things differently. And sometimes it's helpful to look at your particular talents and abilities as clues around what you are here to do and the way that you are here to do it in a way that only you can. Because Leo, where the South Node is very much around self. And even with South Node in fourth house, which governs, you know, past family, ancestry, roots, it's also contemplating, why am I this way? Because, you know, if any of you are at a crossroads, because this can shake up career matters altogether, and some of you might be at a space where your industry has changed so much that you've been made redundant, or you're not feeling like what you're doing is making some sort of difference, and you're not sure what to pivot towards. This is a time where you can make significant pivots, and if you're lost on where to start by contemplating who you are. What are your talents? What are your abilities? What are your personality traits? What are some qualities that your family has always stated that you have? Right? With South Node and Leo within the fourth house. And maybe some of you are reworking that. You're turning it on its head. You know, maybe you grew up in an environment where your mom was always like, oh, you're so high maintenance. And now you're turning that upside down around, yeah, I'm high maintenance and I'm going to go ahead and maintain myself. and get all of my success and all of my goals accomplished in order to maintain myself. Taking something that your family said, perhaps disparagingly, and turning into more fuel for your fire, more fuel for your success. South Node in the 4th house can indicate that there are certain themes that you are letting go of at this time. And part of this could be being your family's pride and joy. You know, maybe you're walking away from a family business, or you're letting go of their expectations of you. Maybe you're letting go of their take on you, how it is that they viewed you, and thus the role you internalize that you had to play in order to get their attention, in order to get their validation. And this is a transit that's coming in like, no more. No more performing for you, no more accomplishing the goals that you think I should accomplish. I'm building an authentic life. I'm following my dreams. I'm making the difference that I feel called to make. And if there have been certain themes around feeling held back by family, this can be a time around alchemizing that, turning it into more fuel for your fire, more fuel for your dreams and your visions. And I don't mean to imply that this transit, you're going to be spending less time with family. I mean, maybe that's the case for some, but Jupiter is stepping into the 4th house. So I do feel like for some of you, it's like you had a baby, or you're taking care of your grandma, or something like that, that's making you go even harder. You know, sometimes when you have mouths to feed and you have people who are dependent on you, or you have a home to purchase, whatever it is, it motivates you to go even harder to get your bag in order to show up for what is sacred. So that also can be what's showing up here, where yes, there is more energy on career, on public persona, but it's in order to show up for your family in some particular way. When it comes to 10th house, it's also around reputation, and there is a level of detachment you are being asked to have as it relates to your reputation, knowing that you cannot be liked by everybody, especially with Pluto also in your 10th house. And especially when you're stepping into a position of power, which some of you are stepping into, you're perceived more. And thus, when you're perceived more people have opinions about you. And so this can be a time that you're being asked to find some detachment around it, as well as to not let your family's take on how you're living your life impact how you view your life. And like I said, some of you could be stepping into a career move that's avant-garde, that's unconventional, that people don't get quite yet. Your family doesn't get quite yet, or even people around you are like, why are you building this startup? Why did you invent this thing? And it might take time for them to get it. Like Aquarius is the sign of the future. So sometimes you got to cook a little bit before people see, oh, I see what you're doing there. And this might be a time where you are investing a lot of your energy in your own legacy, in building something for yourself, yes, but also for other humans with the energy of North Node Aquarius. And also honing in on the team or the people around you that are helping you in building that vision. If North Node Aquarius will move through your 11th house and South Node Leo will move through your 5th house, this is what it means for you. You very well may be an Aries rising. You very well may just have Aquarius degrees in the 11th, Leo degrees in the 5th. Regardless, the astrology reflects that you are moving into a period of your life over the next 2 years that you are shifting from creation to co-creation. This is a time that the universe has blinking, glowing arrows pointing you towards the hopes and dreams that you have for your future and the people that you are building said hopes and dreams with. That is your focus. That is your emphasis. And North Node energy really can feel like a slingshot, especially when it comes to eclipses. We can just feel really pushed in that direction. And so you'd be wise at this time to really hone in on the people around, as well as consciously community building. It's not about the me, it's about the us. And listen, I'm talking to a lot of Aries risings, okay? You all are very independent. You're very self-sufficient. No one's taking that from you. But this is a time that you are going to be able to accomplish more for yourself and for humanity at large when you are open to creating things with others, when you are open to brainstorming with others, when you are open to team building with others, joining organizations, networking at this time is going to be favorable, because no matter how much of a badass you are, and I'm talking to a lot of Aries rising, so I know I'm talking to a lot of badasses, there are certain deficiencies that you have. And that's where it's helpful to build a network, to build a team of people who are good at things where you have certain deficiencies, or even if you are perfect. Even if you have no flaws at all. Sometimes certain people have connections that you do not have. So if you are wanting to achieve a certain goal, achieve a certain vision, you might connect with someone who knows a person who knows a person who sells you your house, or your friend could know a friend who knows a friend who supports you in signing your record deal or your book deal, whatever it may be. This is a time that a lot of blessings are going to come to you via your network. And so this can be a creatively prolific time. You know, Jupiter will also be moving through your 5th house at the same time South Node is, but it's not the focus, just creating music in your own room or writing screenplays that nobody else will read. The focus is on connection. And if you are an artist, if you are a creative, I'm not saying to not prioritize that just because South Node is in the 5th house of creativity. It's just get in environments of other people who are doing what you like to do. They might have valuable feedback for you or know somebody who helps you in some particular way. This is a time for co-creation. This is a time for synergy. This is a time for working together, as well as being in environments and around people who see the world similarly, who are like-minded, who are like-souled. This can be a time in which you're less interested in just hanging out with people just because we like to drink together, we like to party together. Like with North Node Aquarius, you could find you're stepping into a more ambitious period and you're wanting to be around people who have aspirations for themselves, yes, but also for this planet. You know, with North Node Aquarius in the 11th house, you could get more into activism work, humanitarian work. You could lead a nonprofit. You could get more involved in a charity organization and coming together with other humans who believe that the world can be a better place. You know, it takes a certain level of optimism to try to change the world, to try to make a difference. And you're wanting to be around people who are optimistic, or at least aren't cynical around what's the point of trying to do anything. It's like, do something at least to create more good into the world. That's your focus at this time. And even if you're like, Haley Comet, I'm trying to save my world before I save the world. Listen, Aries risings, you have Saturn and Neptune in your sign. And no, not all of you are Aries placements, but I'm not saying it's necessarily easy right now to be an Aries placement and that you need to take the environmental crisis and all of these things on your shoulder and make it your own responsibility. This also could be a time that you are zoned in on your future. What do I want out of life? What are the people that I want to be around? What's the communities that I want to be entrenched in? And that could be really inspiring for you. Building community and wanting to be around people who feel like-minded, who inspire you even outside of global initiatives, public good, just even individuals who are living funky, unconventional, avant-garde lives could inspire you to keep doing your own thing as well. And sometimes we need models of people who live in a more unconventional way, who reflect to us what is possible in this world. Like sometimes we don't know what's possible until somebody else is doing it. Like you might even come across certain people on social media who, you know, live off the grid, or come across certain people within your friendship group who created a really cool living community. And you're like, that's possible? Yeah, it just takes a dreamer. It takes someone who's willing to do things differently. It takes somebody who's willing to trailblaze. And this could be a time that you're really wanting to make friends and you're investing in making friends. It is an effort that we have to do to make friends. Like it is something that we have to prioritize if that's something that's important to you. If when you think of your future self, when you think of your higher self, it is somebody who's very ingrained in their community, this could be a time in which you're really prioritizing building a community. You know, they say everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager. Like it does take you going out of your way for other people, like investing in community in order to feel how wonderfully supportive it can feel to be part of a village or to be part of something that is bigger than ourselves. Some of you may amass a bit of a following at this time, an audience, and it can be around your humanitarian work. It could be around your activism. It could be an online platform at this time. If you already have a following, you could definitely expect a boost at this time. There's a lot of energy around the we. So it's less so just creating things that you think are fun or look good or what have you, but creating things that make a difference in people's lives. That can be a focus. There can be more of a focus on group work, getting people together, communities, retreats, like a major focus on connection. I think a lot of humans are craving connection with other humans, and you could absolutely be a leader in creating those spaces, like building them so that other people come. And even asking, like, why doesn't this exist? Sometimes that's an invitation for us to be the one to do it. So if you've ever wondered, why doesn't it exist a club that does this, or a gathering that does this, or a living situation that does this might be the astrology nudging you to go out and do it, create it, and allow people to come towards it. And sometimes when we step into our calling or our dharma, it's not even to say that everything needs to be massively successful. Like sometimes we are guided to go in a certain direction or start something in order to meet key people or make certain connections that will be valuable for our journey altogether. And so with the energy of North Node Aquarius in the 11th house, it's really calling in community and calling in different visions for your future, no matter how wacky or quirky they may be. For my Pisces risings, or my loves who have Aquarius degrees in the 12th house, Leo degrees in the 6th house, this is exactly what North Node and Aquarius will have in store for you over the next 2-ish years or so. And so I want to highlight firstly, yes, we are all collectively shifting out of the spotlight with South Node and Leo, but that's particularly relevant for you because you are wrapping up a massive nodal journey. You have had eclipses in your sign or in angular houses for the last 2-ish years, and things could have gone down. You may not even recognize who you were 2 years ago. People could have revealed their true colors. You could have chosen yourself in audacious sort of ways. A lot of change could have taken place within your world. And when it comes to life, that tends to be the case, right? Things are always changing, but eclipses tend to bring about exclamation point sort of changes. And now they're shifting more so to comma sort of changes, a little more subtle, especially in the houses that are being impacted. The nodes and thus the eclipses will be largely concentrated from this point onward in the 6th house and the 12th house, which is an axis that is very concerned with service. Hence why this journey for you is about going from doing to devotion. With South Node Leo in the 6th house, this is not a time that you are eager to just fill your calendar with stuff. You are on a more soulful trajectory at this time with North Node Aquarius in the 12th house. You're craving deep conversations with your higher self, with your future self, really, with the energy of Aquarius. You can get more into your clairvoyance or your prophetic abilities. You can receive more prophetic dreams. You can establish more of a connection with your ancestors or with the other side. You could be even in groups or around communities in order to sharpen those particular abilities with North Node Aquarius in the 12th house. You are letting go of being always on, always available, always accessible. Like when we talk about 12th house, it's a little bit more removed from daily life. It's a little bit more isolated. It's a little bit more inward. And so you may be craving more solitude. You may be getting lost in your inner world a little bit more so. As if Pisces placements need more of that, right? And there's various reasons. Maybe you are sharpening into your intuitive abilities. Maybe you are connecting with the other side. Maybe life just feels like a lot. Your sensitivity is increasing. When our psychic abilities increase, our sensitivity also increases as well. We're receiving a lot of psychic data, and sometimes environments, places, and people that used to fit you quite well no longer fit. It hits you as noisy, it hits you as annoying, it hits you as overwhelming. And so it is a time to be very dialed in with your soul and really asking what your soul craves, because your soul could crave at this time stillness and contemplation and reflection. Some of you could be processing things or looking for answers that can only be found from within. So you're not interested around filling your calendar. You're not interested with just filling your mind with mindless junk. You're really wanting to come inward. You're wanting to focus on your healing. You're wanting to be devoted to your meditation practice, to your yoga practice. Whatever helps you tune in can be something that you are concentrated on at this time. And with South Node Leo, 6th house, you are letting go of overachieving. You're letting go of feeling like your ability to do said something about who you were as a person. Leo is our pride. It is our confidence. And you could have always prided yourself around, I'm a hard worker and I stay the latest and I work the hardest. And this might be a time that you're like, to what avail? I've burnt myself out. I feel drained in this effort to secure validation, in this effort to prove to myself that I am worthy. You know, sometimes we feel like we have to go above and beyond in order to feel good. And this might be a time that you're in this recalibration period around not wanting to work towards things that don't really matter to you and really letting go of certain patterns that you've had around overworking or even just always being of service, always being there to help. You know, South Node Leo is a lot around releasing people pleasing, which we think of a lot when it comes to interpersonal connections, but that can also be alive with coworkers. That could also be alive with doing favors for other people. And this may be a time that you're just not interested any longer because you're not tying your sense of validation to it anymore. And people may not understand it. You know, with North Node Aquarius, we are all being guided to follow our own freaky deaky little wavelength. And not everybody needs to get it. Some of you could be walking away from a certain workplace. Some of you could be walking away from certain work habits. Some of you could be letting go of certain staff if you've hired certain staff. And you could just be craving more stillness, like really craving a peaceful life can be something that is very important to you. There might be certain themes that come up around health that do push you towards a lot of this reflective work, this psychic work, this introspective work. And it's interesting because Jupiter will also be co-present here. And so some of you are letting go of mindless activities that fill your days in order to say yes to activities that really make your heart sing and that really feel important. Like some of you could receive divination, receive guidance of what you are here to do. And it could feel like a big mission, a big calling that you're like, okay, who, me? And you may have to release certain patterns within you in order to arrive to that. A lot of you are letting go of perfectionism. You know, done is better than perfect. My loves. Some of you are releasing the need for your coworkers to really like you because you take on all of their extra work. Some of you are letting go of a job that you know you're good at. You know you can get validation and attention in. You know that people will applaud if you do that in order to show up for the big work, the real work that you're called to do. A lot of you are really looking at your escapist patterns, your avoidant patterns. This could amplify escapism and avoidance, so be mindful of that. But sometimes we escape or we self-sabotage because we don't feel like we're worthy of our higher calling or what it is that we feel called to do. And this could be a time to really look at that. And 12th house is a bit solitary. It is a little bit more about isolation, but with the energy of Aquarius there, this can be a time that you do find community around these topics, or you are really getting your detachment game on point. You know, Aquarius placements, oftentimes it's like they're very connected, right? It's an air sign, but then sometimes you reach out to them, you don't hear from them in some time. So you could be really getting your boundaries in order around just because someone texts me doesn't mean I need to respond right away. Just because someone asks for my time doesn't mean I need to give it right away. Like a lot of you could be really sharpening into your boundaries in order to protect your sacred time within that helps refresh your energy stores. So my loves, with North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo, we are all shifting away from performance and towards participation. And we are all, each and every one of us, being asked to remember just how powerful we are when we work together, when we envision together, and most importantly, when we build the future we believe in together. I so enjoyed giving your forecast to you. If you'd like to connect further, my Instagram handle is @Haley Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I also have all sorts of content that you can check out here on YouTube. I have all signs forecasts and all of the major transits that we have. The upcoming eclipse forecasts are coming in, so you'll want to check that out. I also have a weekly horoscope called Magic Monday for you to check out. I go into the astrology every single week. I'm here in my cosmic corner of the internet every Sunday if you'd like to join. But until I see you again, here on the internet, stay magical.